Alright, welcome one and all to episode 2 of the Step Up Bar. For those of you that actually tuned into episode 1, we had a name change already. The reason for this is we realized that our previous name, Gacha Nightlife, coincided too similarly with another IP that exists, and we want to avoid any potential associations with said IP. So after some, brainstorming, we decided to rename ourselves to the Step Up Bar and all that. Today we have the 5 of us: me, Fujigamesh, Ryu, Strider, Isekai, and more today. And yeah, we wanted to thank you one and all for those of you that checked out episode 1, that subscribed to the channel. It was pretty encouraging. We were delighted to see how much love and praise everyone had for what they've heard in the episodes, and we hope that we continue to have your support going down the line as we release more and more of these episodes. But yeah, starting for the topic of the day, how are our weeks going here? So let's start off with you, Strider. How's your week been? Your first week back at school, the back to school edition.
I hate it already. I'm gonna go die. School sucks.
Damn.
Why do we have school? We don't even support it that well nowadays in America.
Jesus, dude.
Already with the hot takes.
Yeah.
Are you still having to go to the campus in person, or is it like a mix of remote?
I have to attend in person.
Oh no.
All my classes done, dude.
It sucks.
I'm very sorry to hear that, Strider. And you already have homework, right, for the first week or something? Yeah.
I'm already starting researching.
No, wait. Researching for what? What is this?
Another written paper.
Damn, dude.
That soon?
Yeah.
Hit them books, child.
Yeah, first week back and already to give you a project. It's like, yeah. Well, what's the topic about, if you know what it is?
Vietnam War protests in America.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting to hear. How long do you have to do? How long do you have to before it's due? What is what I'm asking.
And a semester.
Okay, so you got a good healthy amount of time then.
Yeah.
But anything else that's been going on this week? Oh, you had your birthday recently.
Yes, I had my birthday. And nothing important came out of it.
You got cake?
Yeah, two
Yeah.
cakes, actually.
2 cakes. I only ate 1.
Damn.
How dare you not partake in both cakes?
Do you need the leftovers?
There's still some leftovers. There's like almost a whole cake as a leftover.
Just be glad it's not ice cream cake.
I'm actually a sucker for that. It's like the ice cream cakes.
Yeah, same, but it melts over time.
Oh, I guess that's true.
I haven't had ice cream cake in the longest time, dude.
Yeah,
I had that last weekend.
Oh, there you go.
And you didn't share.
It was my cousin's kid's birthday. What do you want me to do?
Just steal the kid's cake when he isn't looking. That's a deal.
He's in high school. I don't think so, buddy.
Oh no.
There is a thing called dry ice. There's a thing called dry ice. Mail it.
Yeah.
What about you, War? How's your week been?
It's alright. Nothing to report. Oh, other than I just played Saints Row the 3rd with my brother yesterday.
Are you enjoying the game? I never actually got to play the 3rd game. I only played the 4th game where it got crazy and you're the president and you have superpowers.
And the only ones I played are the 3rd and 4th grade, and then the Get Out of Hell. I prefer the 3rd one because it's more wackier than the 4th.
And that's saying a lot because the 4th one is just entirely wacky.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. I was like, it literally had superpowers and alien invasions. I was like, the fact that the 3rd one is crazier.
I feel like the 4th one is just it was supposed to be the last expansion for the 3rd, so they just made it out of the game out of that.
Okay. Yeah, I never got to play any of them, so I don't really know. But I have heard, high praise for the 3rd game, the Get Out of Hell DLC. So I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryu? How's your week been?
Oh, where do I even begin?
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Yeah. I guess we're
War and Isekai know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was going smooth. It was going okay. I had a nice couple of days off. But oh man, my last day off, I came home after a long day of like being out, hanging out with friends that I haven't seen in a while, reconnecting with my city's video game community a lot in order to start stuff for the future. I get home, there's a hole in my bathroom ceiling.
Oh
That's what it
no.
was about.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's still not fixed. I'm still trying to get a hold of my landlord and maintenance, and I'm like, guys, I know it's Labor Day weekend, but help. SOS 123 help. Please.
Oh boy.
No.
Yeah, it's these past 2 days have been kind of rough because I have not well, okay. First of all, there was drywall all on my floor and in my bathtub. Some of it's still stuck, and I need to get like a hard brush in order to get them off. But like yeah, I'm currently dealing with that right now. Other than that, oh geez, what else? Honestly, nothing too much outside of that. There is like other stuff, but I really don't want it to be said on public record, so I can't really
That's fair.
say that.
That's fair.
Say that. So
Yeah. Well, I'm
But-
sorry to hear that. Yeah, the apartment has been causing a lot of trouble recently with the bed bugs and then the hole in the ceiling. It's like, yeah.
oh my god, it's just been never ending.
Yeah.
It's been never ending. I'm like, can I get like a period of 6 months where just nothing fucking happens,
You get used to it.
please? Like, it's like one of those things that you shouldn't get used to, though. That's the thing.
That's
C'est
fair.
la vie, man.
Yeah.
C'est la vie.
I know. But other than that, I'm doing okay. New season of Master Duel started with the new ban list, so I'm getting adjusted for that. And I'm building I'm actually building a new up-to-date competitive deck for like the first time
Ooh.
in a while for Yu-Gi-Oh! So
For-
paper. I'm
Yeah.
playing with people in paper.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you're talking about IRL, right? Yeah. It's like-
Yeah. So I reconnected with friends of mine from my college. I used to be part of my school's Super Smash Brothers club, and I still visit them from time to time. Several of them right now, including the president, is also a Yu-Gi-Oh player. So we've just been having fun building decks and just talking and everything like that. So it's been nice. It's honestly been nice partaking in like one of my favorite hobbies again.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm not gonna lie. I too kind of miss playing Yu-Gi-Oh in person with a bunch of friends and stuff like that. There's something irreplaceable about that, and I kind of miss that to this day. But a lot of us now, I've either stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh or we all live in like different locations, so it's kind of hard to like do. And then also, I just don't think I'm willing to like get back into the paper game as much as I kind of miss it. That's a deal.
Random airline, fly me to Fuji. I will bring my legacy deck collection so we can play legacy formats.
Yeah, it's like there are times where I definitely entertain it. I think it'd be kind of cool to get the IRL gacha feeling again. Go buy them packs, open it up, and be like, oh man, let's see what crap I get or what great stuff I got. And I still remember like one of my happier memories playing Yu-Gi-Oh was when we it was during one of the legendary duelist collections. I think it was the one with the Steel Orichalcos where they reprinted the Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning.
Oh yeah, the first reprint of it. That's right.
Yeah. And I remember like me and my RA, because who's like for those of you that don't know, like on the dorms you have someone called like an RA who's kind of like your floor leader. He like we got the floor into Yu-Gi-Oh, and then like one day like when we heard that the collection was coming out, we did I was one to get it and he wanted to get it too, so we decided we would just split. We weren't really, it was like $30 I think at the time, and we weren't really feeling like each of us paying $30 on its own. So we just decided to split the case collection. So he was gonna get like half the packs and I'll get half the packs. That type of deal. And on that, and like I remember like And very like, yeah, one of the happier moments was like, yeah, we were pulling the packs, and I had the last pack there, and like, and I was, and like, I think I didn't really get anything too great out of it. I got some like, you know, cards that were decently priced, like, you know, it was a few dollars on its own or something like that type of deal. So like, I did get some solid ones, and then it came to the last pack, and I was just just going through the cards, and then like my like we had the whole like it was kind of fun because we had everyone else playing Yu-Gi on the floor. They were all there to watch us open the packs, and I remember like I got to the part where I got to see the secret rare, and like my RA was like, "Oh, the secret rare is next." So then I moved it over, and it was of course the Blackluster Soldier. And all that. So obviously I popped up. Yeah, I popped up. I got up from the couch, and then I ran, and then like I ran to the person right in front of me, and all that, and I just gave a huge hug, and he lifted me off my feet and swung me around a bit, and all that to like everyone's amusement. And he was like, yeah, it was pretty amusing. Yeah, he was like, asked like, "Oh, man, why did you swing around like that?" It's like, well, he came at me with like, you know, such like excitement and fervor. I felt like I gotta reciprocate that in some way.
That's a true homie right there. Yeah, sealed box of the legendary collection that you did. It's Yugi's World, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Currently are going for listings as low as between $250 and $300.
Dang.
That's sealed, by the way.
Yeah, goodness, yeah. Should have just held on to that. Like, yeah, because me and my RA could still split that and make back our money and more. You know? But I mean, technically, I did make back my money and more though if I was selling the cards at the time. Because the BOS at the time, I think the reprint was $30 too, so I already made back my money right away from just simply pulling that.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, it was like the very first time like it got reprinted since like being finally taken off the ban, like off like the ban list to like one copy. If I want,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was like why it was like a big deal at the time. I recalled. Yeah, and that, and also I remember like there were just other cards in there that I thought would be kind of amusing too, so like that would be helpful. So yeah, that was like a big reason we pulled there. But that was definitely like one of the more happier memories there.
What does Pot of Greed do?
Take an old bridge reference.
Win the game.
Yeah. I just pull a Kaiba.
But yeah, I'm sorry to hear about the recent apartment troubles, Ryu, but I do hope that, you know, the landlords and peeps will get around to doing something about it, though.
Random people of the internet, send me your energy.
What about you, Isekai? How's your week been treating you?
It's been good. Yeah, it's been good so far. I had a rare chance to have American/Canadian breakfast once.
Ooh. What brought on this occasion?
I was saying that. There's like okay, for context, for you guys and people listening, I like going around trying new food. So like whatever restaurant is nearby me, I would like to try it at least once.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this all you can eat breakfast place that I never tried, so I wanted to go there and I went there. Pretty much.
Ain't nothing wrong with that there.
Yeah.
Now, by Canadian/American breakfast, I'm gonna need some context here.
Yeah, that's probably a good
Okay,
idea.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I was about to get there. So what I ordered was 2 French toasts.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Let's see, 3 small eggs, sunny side up, potatoes, bacon, and sausage.
Bacon.
It was a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I eat a lot for an Asian, but that's a lot of food.
How much bacon did you eat?
But they only gave me 2 slices because I ordered 2 bacons and 2 sausages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like that. Like just imagine like a petite Asian woman eating a lot. And okay, just like, you know, those competitive eaters, like that. It was like that. It felt like that.
No comment.
No, I'm just gonna say you stole my heart when you said French toast. Like that's like my favorite breakfast of all time. I can't.
French toast is so good.
Yeah.
I love French toast and pancakes. So
Note to self. Ever visit Isekai? Make the toaster for the French.
It's not actually from France, dude.
it's just a play on words.
I know. I mean, it's just
I know,
French
but I
fries.
just wanted to
No,
point
Yeah,
it
yeah.
out.
Next thing you'd be telling me is that those French fries aren't made by the French too. Ah,
It's not, it's from Belgium.
yeah, exactly. It's like yeah, that was that was like definitely a sarcastic thing there. Not
I
that.
know, yeah, I know. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I'm
man.
used to having like the Asian French toast, if you guys know that.
Maybe I don't know. I have to take a look at it.
So the Asian, the Asian French toast is you still have bread, and occasionally you can have put filling between the two slices of bread, but instead of pan frying it, you literally deep fry it.
Okay.
yeah.
Those I know.
yeah.
Those I know.
I've actually seen somebody make it like that before. It was
Yeah.
no, not just you, but it was also like oh man, this was like deep into like lockdown era pandemic. So there's a YouTuber by the name of Chef PK.
Mhm.
He was it was like early on, I think I want to say 2021 he was started doing this. He was taking like a viewer request battles of a viewer would send in like a recipe of their own and he would make his own recipe to counteract that. It was a French toast battle. He made a French toast that was literally like a French toast deconstruction of like a McDonald's apple pie with vanilla ice cream.
Oh,
And the one that the fan sent in was literally a deep fried matcha French toast with ube ice cream.
Mm.
And I'm looking at both of those. I'm like, give me that ube. I want that ube. like I'll accept the matcha. I'm not sure about the peanut butter addition to it, but I will definitely take that ube.
Good on it. The peanut butter is good on French toast. Trust me, it's good.
I fully believe that peanut butter is good on French toast, but I don't understand how that mixes well with matcha. That's just me though.
Oh, with matcha? Maybe because like it's nutty.
Oh wait, matcha mochi, I should say.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. It just sounds like a honey toast to me.
I know. Yeah, that's kind of like what it appeared like with the ingredients. I'm like, this is interesting, but yeah, it does almost all honey toast just deep fried.
No, honey toast is just a little chunk of bread toasted, and then you put all of the toppings on top of the chunk.
So like a sandwich, but like
No, like it's not even a sandwich. It's literally a brick of bread. And then you put all your toppings.
It's like a literal brick.
Yeah, it's literally a brick of bread. It's like a giant loaf.
Is it like
How
hard?
do you eat a brick? You woman, how do you eat a brick?
You chew it.
I'll use it as a weapon then.
Isekai, I don't think that's what's meant by brick house.
Don't worry about it. It's a Kenzo griddle.
I feel like I should be worried about it.
It's Isekai. You shouldn't be worried about it.
Just imagine Hassan griddle. That's all. That's it.
I worry about you all the time, AI.
Just worry about her sleep schedule, dude.
I worry about many things.
I don't.
Yeah, be like Strider. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't
I
worry.
sometimes worried about her. It's just like she doesn't care.
You are tearing me apart, Isekai.
I care. I appreciate that you guys care. Doesn't mean I have to like worry about myself.
That's why I don't
Gee,
care.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
If a person won't take care of themselves, I'm not responsible for them.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Fucking hell, man.
It's just a simple truth.
But yeah, it sounds like you enjoyed that Canadian American breakfast stuff, in the sounds of it.
Oh, it's so filling. Holy crap.
Anything
It's
else
so filling.
that you found this week? You would like to share?
What? Let's see. I've just been comforting a lot of friends. They've been through a lot.
Ooh.
We're included.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's like I've been seeing a lot of my friendos and stuff like that too. Seem to be having some troubles of their own. On that.
Yeah.
August was a lot for people. I don't know. I don't know.
It seems so.
yeah.
I'm not sure what black cloud hung over like the month of my birth, but what the hell?
I think it's like the
Old
beginning of
school.
Yes, school,
The
and
education
college.
system.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
it
this
is
like-
that.
This is like quarter of the year now.
Yeah.
Must resist singing "We Don't Need No Education." Must resist singing "Another Brick in the Wall"
You
Part 2.
want us to get to copyright? All right, good.
I'll be right. How?
covers and
Oh,
stuff like that. It's like
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, go ahead, proceed. No, that, yeah,
No, I was just confused. Like, what's happening?
yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, it does sound like a yeah. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. But yeah, people having it rough.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Everything else has been chill. The weather's nice, so I can finally go out more.
Okay, yeah. And
And it's finally below 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that's in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, gotta convert those to freedom units really quick here. On that.
Yeah, for context, we're recording this on a day where in my city in the Midwest, it was like mid to low 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I
okay,
don't
so
know
20
Celsius
Celsius
somehow.
is about 68 Fahrenheit, so there we
Oh,
go.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is actually a pretty nice day. On that.
Yeah, it's very nice.
What are you guys dealing with? I'm over here with 100.
God.
I saw
You live in a desert.
I don't live in the
Neko, it's like-
desert.
I saw
I live
Neko
on the
from-
west side of the world.
I saw California's from Necos. It's like Jesus Christ, 111. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I would die. Thank God I'm visiting there in January where it's at least somewhat cooler.
Yeah, 111 for Celsius is 44, so there you go. It's yeah.
No, I'm staying inside for that.
All
I'll
that.
drag you out outside someday.
But yeah, I imagine streaming and all that is going pretty well too, right? As well.
Yeah, it's been pretty chill to be honest.
She replaced me with a robot.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound pretty chill. It's like,
Okay, hold on.
No contest needed. She replaced me. That's it.
No.
Don't worry, nothing of value was lost.
Oh shit!
Fuck, man.
Yeah, let me explain. It's because I finally after I think after a month of my bot, the program I'm using, my chatbot kind of just like disappeared. I had to reinstall it, and then I was putting back all my sound clips, and I was trying to see if I could put in timers and put in text commands for people to use on YouTube. Sound command works fine, even though it's lags like a couple seconds behind. And my timer works, but my sound command, I mean not my sound command, my text command does not work. So I was fixing a bit. I was spending like probably 10-15 minutes fixing that on stream before I jump into a game. And occasionally I see the timer go off on my chat, and I'm like, "Yay, it works!" And the word said that you replaced me.
Yeah, I said it straight. I was like, you replaced me. Okay.
I see.
Just know if you need voice/sound commands commission, please commission me, Sakai. I will do whatever you need.
He needs 5 EY.
If you're gonna plug in commissions, I have my voiceover commissions open too.
Okay, you know what, Hustle, gotta respect Hustle.
I know, right?
If you want a guy to voice a very deep voice for you, maybe I may be open to that too.
Great for deep voices. I'm just saying, he did my re-debut voice line to opening. And
And he did it EY again like a couple weeks ago too.
Oh yeah, I forced him to, didn't I?
Yeah.
That you did. You just love my UI. I don't know.
It's like Ryu's doing more EYs than walls now.
Damn.
Oh,
Where's my contract, Toho?
It's Toei, not Toho.
Okay, strike that. Reverse it. Where's my contract, Toei? Sorry. I've been on the Godzilla. I've been on the Godzilla kick.
do you mean Toho?
Toho, like the people that make
No
Godzilla.
habla inglés?
Oh my god.
No hablo inglés. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Fuji, cut you off.
No, it's all good. I was just saying that like he was talking about the company for Godzilla, not the actual franchise of Toho and all that there. Yeah.
Oh my god! Do you guys want to see what my coworker actually drew today on our chalkboard?
Wait, sure.
All right, so I am at.
Can't see it.
Okay. All right. So for those listening, I am a coffee ninja by day, aka a barista. So one of my coworkers, fantastic. She's an art student with a degree in drawing and everything like that. She drew Godzilla in nothing but chalk on a chalkboard.
Oh, that's nice.
That is really good. Not gonna lie.
And that is literally like a chalk recreation of like Godzilla's how Godzilla looks on the poster for the 1996 or 95 or 96 Godzilla.
Like Burning Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla versus Destoroyah.
Yeah, that's Burning Godzilla.
Yep. That was we used the poster for Godzilla versus Destoroyah in order to be able to convey that. We wanted to do the original 1954 poster, but she didn't like how the 1954 Godzilla looked, which I'm like, man, I can understand because of like how much like Toku has evolved, but man, come on, you gotta disrespect the godfather of Toku that way.
I had to agree with her on that one. Not gonna lie.
But that actually looks really impressive on that, yeah.
If you hadn't told us it was chalk, I thought it was like a drawing.
Yeah, I would have thought so too. That's actually really impressive there.
Not just chalkboard, like not chalkboard chalk, sidewalk chalk.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's actually so really impressive.
With thick boys.
Thick voice.
We're still waiting for Jet Jaguar.
Yeah.
Where's the Godzilla with the drop kick?
My favorite moment from possibly the worst Godzilla movie. It's the best.
Yeah, my week has been relatively alright. I had to like get my biometrics for work, and something that was amusing is like that I found every time was like every time I have to like every time I have to go to like a doctor's and they have to draw blood for me every time like that, I always present my left arm to them, and every single one, nearly every single one without veil, always made a comment on like what great veins I have there. Nearly every single one and all that there, and like so it wasn't. So I went to the one because I had to do this one for work, and I went to the one for work, and when I got to, I guess, the doctor, nurse, whoever the person was technically that handled that, I presented my left arm to draw blood, and they're like, "Oh, those are some great veins you have." I was like, "Yeah, I get that all the time." She's like, "Yeah, that's what we in the field call vein porn or something." There.
Oh, fuck.
Are you sure your doctor is just not hitting
Daughter.
you?
Daughter.
Hey, daughter in the future.
Oh, fair.
Oh,
That'd be a really far future, so she was definitely very old. And older. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it was like, yeah, but yeah, I was like, it was an amusing one. But yeah, it was like, yeah, so that was a little bit of an amusing thing there. And then, yeah, work has been like, yeah, making me work for Labor Day, mainly because there was a lot more stuff I had to take care of this week, but it wasn't too bad because I got my Friday off as well, because it was like my every other Friday, so that was really, really nice. And I recently, I was been playing my WWE 2K22 game a lot more this week as well, and it's been pretty fun, but I'm starting to run into some of the big bugs that people are talking about in one of the modes, and it's like you can get around them, but it's just kind of annoying because it's like you just don't, because it's just like you miss the way to get around it means you have to skip the matches after that type of deal, and it's kind of like a bit annoying at times because you kind of feel like you missed out on potential stuff. But yeah, I think the game itself is fun, but it's definitely buggy though, so it's like, yeah, hopefully they flesh that out in the next iteration, that type of deal. But
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I will say, like, when it comes to like the 2K games or WWE especially, like some of the older ones, some of like just how dumb they got some of the physics, like, are some of the most entertaining things that I have ever experienced with video games. Like, no joke. I'm like, how do you screw up physics this bad?
it's because they're not used to with the engine.
Yeah, like the last WWE game I played, like that was like pretty, that I played a good amount of prior to this, was WWE 13, the one with CM Punk on the cover there.
Let's
That was
go!
my favorite.
Yeah, that was like, I think that was the one where they did their first, Attitude Era showcase or something like that there, so that was why I got it. Yeah.
It was showcase build, yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, that was the last one I actually played. But yeah, this one's been pretty fun too, but it is stuff very buggy, so I'm glad I got it at like a pretty cheap price for sure. And then, yeah.
Are you gonna get the AEW game or no?
No, I looked at that one, but it's like, I don't think it's for me. I don't know, it's like, unfortunately. So
It's
that,
understandable.
yeah, but it's
they left out FTR. I'm mad.
I think there might be a reason why, but I don't know.
They left out my boys.
yeah, like it looks alright, but it's like, it's definitely like the play style and stuff like that, and how it looks is like, I don't think it's for me there. So it's like, yeah, I'll pass on that. But yeah, other than that though, yeah, I was like delighted to hear that, you know, in a couple of days, you know, that we're recording this as of September 4th, Cross Duel for Yu-Gi-Oh is coming out. That type of deal.
Oh my god, I forgot.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, it had to release on a Tuesday and Thursday because of that weird business thing where it's best to release these games on like Tuesdays and Thursdays. But you know, I don't know anything about business, so it's like, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I can't just, you know, play it tomorrow for Labor Day or something. But yeah, it's coming out in a couple days, and I'm pretty excited for it, mainly because it's just something very different in the whole Yu-Gi-Oh formula. There's some people talking about how apparently it's maybe play to win or something like that, pay to win, I mean. But I don't know. I guess because they have like things like dupes and whatnot that you get that like unlock stuff. But we would have to see how bad or how, like, you know, maybe it doesn't really matter too much or something. We'll have to see for ourselves once it comes out there. But it's something, you know, really cool to look forward to. And then yeah. I found that like one of my, you know, also me being a big fan of grand strategy games, like Victoria 3 is coming out in October 25th, and I'm like super excited for it because it takes place during a time period in history that I really love, which is the 1800s and up to a little before World War II. That there, which it, you know, so it's like, so I'm super excited about it, and then I can't wait to like pretty much play as like, I don't know, any type of country and hopefully just screw around with them and create all sorts of weird alternate history stuff with it. So looking forward to that as well. On that end. But yeah, I was also like Isekai, I also had like a couple friends though over this week having their own like problems too that we had to like kind of, you know, listen to, work together and so that a lot of it was just I guess like frustration over the corporate ladder jobs and stuff like that type of deal. On that, it was like basically like, you know, things like, you know, raises are pretty insignificant, promotions are not really given out too much nowadays, stuff, etc, etc. There's like a lot of like stuff like that, so we had to, you know, that we were just pretty much, you know, venting, ranting, working that out together and on that. But yeah, other than that though, it's been so far a pretty pleasant Labor Day weekend on that. Yeah, like nothing, I didn't really do anything too much of note. I originally was probably supposed to go to this Renaissance festival over the weekend because the area I'm in, they hold like a Renaissance festival like every year or something like that. It got canceled I think a couple years ago because of COVID, but this year they brought it back, and like originally me and one of my friends who I visit here and there, we were probably gonna go, but he never quite told me when he was gonna go, and in the end I didn't go. So it's yeah, like thankfully if I really want to go, it's held for several weeks, so and each week is like a theme. Like I think this week was supposed to be like, I think, pirates or something like that, and then there was like one that's like a wedding week and there's something like that.
Wedding week?
Yeah, like it's like for people that want to get married at the festival or something like that. That's how a deal. And then they had another one that was let me think. They had one where it's like a cosplay thing, so it's just like, you know, it doesn't even have to be like time appropriate, so you can show up as like, I don't know, Iron Man or something like that there if you really want to at the Renaissance Festival. No, then they had some like other things too. There's an Irish one, I think, and then like some other, I don't know, other things going on there. But it was like, but yeah, like I went there once. I went there once. It was like I think the first year I was up at that I was here, and pretty much it was like, yeah, it was pretty fun. My friend had like free tickets, I went along with him, and it was a pretty neat thing to see, eat a giant turkey leg on it while I was there as well. And then yeah, that was like, yeah, that was pretty much how my week has been currently though. But yeah, pretty good start to the Labor Day weekend. And then yeah, tomorrow, you know, it's obviously Labor Day itself, but I don't really think I'm gonna be doing anything wild on that day. Oh, I did have I did have my roommate's family came over to visit like this week, and like yeah, I like, what was it? It was the first time I met my roommate's sister, like after she got married, so like her husband was there, and we got along pretty well. They were kind of just looking around the area for houses and stuff like that, and then at one point we were eating dinner and all that, and they're like, and they were asking like, oh yeah, like do you have any siblings, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh yeah, I have like, you know, some younger sisters. So then they're asking how old they are, and then she was like, oh, and then turns out the reason she was asking that was like, oh, she was maybe considering setting up like her younger brother and my siblings and all that. And my roommate was like and all that, yeah. So because like turns out they were actually very similar in age. I think like I'm trying to remember, I think my sisters were just a year younger than their youngest brother. on that type of deal. So like, so they were like trying to set him up with something there and all that, and then like my roommate's like, yeah, I don't think I'm ready to like, you know, be related to the Fuji over here just yet. That type of deal.
That possibly be fucking awkward.
Yeah, I told him that too. I was like, yeah, I'm not so ready. I don't think I'm ready to call him my brother-in-law in the future, or something like that. It's like, but yeah, she was.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was an abuse, and then she was like, and yeah, the sister was like, oh, it's like, you know, it wouldn't be that awkward if they actually got together and, you know, been with each other for like a few years, something like that. But yeah, it was just like,
Still be awkward.
yeah, so it was like,
What kind of fantasy world mumbo jumbo is this?
Well, it's called Asian life.
Yep.
You know what? Fair. I forgot to take that into account.
yeah. From what I heard, though, like his younger sister is always kind of just like that too. Like apparently like she was like trying to like during her wedding. When my roommate was there, she was trying to like potentially try to set him up with other like girls at the wedding too, or something like that. That's the idea. So I guess she just kind of likes playing matchmaker in a way, you know that. But yeah, I was like, yeah, that's like pretty. I was like that. I know you're kind of half serious about this, but I think right now that's not in the cards, and then partially because I know my sisters, he probably wouldn't be too enthused that that brother of theirs cannot drive right now. That type of deal on that, or doesn't have his license. I guess would be more correct there. So they're like, I guess that's. You know, I guess that's fair. That's what I was like, yeah, for me, I probably wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I know my sisters, and they probably wouldn't be too enthused about it. And they were like, yeah, we kind of wouldn't be that big on it either. But so yeah, I guess for now, I don't have to worry about potentially calling my current roommate my brother-in-law in the future just yet.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Just yet.
Yeah. I just gotta make sure to never let them meet up and all that there. It's
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Yep.
but yeah, that was like an amusing thing there, though, for sure. Yeah, so like, yeah, but yeah, they were pretty chill. Though. Like, I met his sister a couple times already because they came up here once for no, they came up here actually a few times already. Actually, like his younger sister, like I met them when I went down for an anime convention to like the state that my roommate was in, and then I met her and more of his family again, and all that. Like when we moved into the new house. Then I met them once more when his brother and her came up to like help him get his suit fixed or something like that, or whatever. And then yeah, then just this week just met them so yeah, it's like yeah. So at this point we're kind of a bit more familiar with each other, but yeah, it was like it's always like an amusing like interaction though when they're like when my roommate's family is around because they all have some unique personalities to say the least. And that there. But yeah, that was like yeah, I guess it was a bit more eventful week than I thought it was. I just kind of put in the back of my mind.
I can't believe you call that unique. That's like my family in a nutshell.
For what it's worth, like yeah, it's like it's unique because like they're like you know different ethnicities and all that. They're like you know Vietnamese to my Chinese, of course, being you know them. Being like Vietnamese and Chinese, you know, both our families always have bad things to say about the other's ethnicities to being Asian. That there.
Oh yeah.
Random matchmakings are not a myth. I have seen it.
No.
You'll be surprised, man.
Yeah.
Why? It's called every party I go to.
Yeah, like it's kind of funny because like what was it like a lot like my mom's generation stuff like that they're like because they're kind of old school, they always don't really have the most pleasant things to say about the Vietnamese people. They're like, oh yeah, they drink too much and stuff like that type of deal and all that. And then meanwhile, of course, like my roommate tells me about it, he's like, yeah, my family's kind of like, yeah, all those Chinese people, they're too stuck up and smug and stuff like that type of deal and all that. So it's like both sides have something bad to say about the other, but if they ever actually like get to a scenario, because like my family already has like my family like extended family has married you know some Vietnamese people, you know, they will suck it up and you know go to the weddings and whatnot, though some of the more hardcore people may not be like too enthused. Because I remember like during one of the weddings, like apparently one of my family members actually got like very upset about it, that type of deal, saying like, oh wow, we have another one of these people in our family now or something there. So like yeah, like
Wow.
yeah, so it's like yeah, but yeah, he didn't voice it out like you know to you know the people in the public. It was just at the people at the wedding table that he was sitting in. That's how apparently he just voiced it out like yeah. But yeah, it's like Yeah, but for the most part, though, everyone's like, whatever, like, they, even if they have some prejudices against them, if they marry them, they're willing to, they'll suck it up. They won't really have anything bad to say about it. That's the idea. They just kind of leave them alone on that. Which is, I think, like, compared to some of the other Asian families I know, it's probably better, on the better end than some others I know, where they kind of don't let that down. And I think if, like, someone, like, in their family married, like, someone of a different ethnicity that they don't necessarily approve of. Like, I definitely knew some Asian friends that, like, their parents are not their parents, like, someone in their family doesn't quite let the others live that down. Type of deal. That.
Bro, and I thought the redneck side of my family was fucking weird. What the hell?
That.
Wow, Rio.
Yeah, like the Southeast Asian peoples have a lot of racism among them. At least the older ones do, generally. The more traditional ones. That. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's just kind of like, at this point, it's like, it's one of those things that you kind of just have to accept it when you're like, when like being in an Asian family, it's like racism is kind of a expected thing, if they, especially for the ones that come over from like the mainland. A lot of them are like that, but Isekai. I thought you were gonna say like, well, my family isn't quite like that. I was like, there's always gonna be exceptions, and on that there.
There's definitely exceptions. I'm pretty sure there's exceptions, but like, it doesn't die.
No, like it's they do a lot of the whole like, oh, I'm not racist type deal, but
this is a problem, right?
Yeah, they do the whole thing. They really just do that. They're like, they don't. I think they truly don't think they're racist, but they kind of think of it. It's the whole, I guess, but it's one of those things where it's like a lot of people that have some racism, they just see certain things as a matter of fact rather than a stereotype. That type of deal. On that, and it's kind of just in a way, not saying this completely excuses them, but that's just kind of something that that in the culture is almost more or less just kind of embedded. That's not to say they shouldn't change it or learn to be better, but it's kind of like in a way, like in a lot of these like Southeast Asian countries, when they were growing up, they were kind of pretty much they were kind of taught to like, these other like these Vietnamese people or Japanese people or other Southeast Asian people is they're not as great as us or something like that. That type of deal. You get a lot of that going on in those Southeast Asian countries there.
I like to take a little bit of Todd from BoJack Horseman and say, you can't just keep doing this expecting you'll just be forgiven. You've got to be better, man.
It's usually like the older, like the older generation. Luckily, like the younger ones, I guess the Asians here included, are like, yeah, this is kind of fucked up, ain't it?
Yeah, like I think even like the ones in the mainland like countries, like the people actually born in Korea and like China and Japan and so on and so forth. A lot of the newer generation ones, they're getting better about it. It's a type of deal. They're getting better about like being more tolerant of other ethnicities and stuff like that. That type of deal. And another part of it, I think, is a big part of it, I guess, is globalization. They're more exposed to different people nowadays. That type of deal than our parents or my mom's generation, where they could probably go through decades not meeting like anyone else of a different ethnicity. That type of deal. And on that, so they really only have their stereotypes and whatnot to go off of. And on that, but I think a lot of like from what I've been in China and other people meeting other people from that are visiting the States and whatnot, a lot of the newer generations are much more accepting of the other cultures and so on and so forth. I mean, you may have some, like in the case of like China, very simple, you may have some that have a bit of a superiority complex, maybe because that's kind of what they grew up with. They're like, oh yeah, like they appreciate all the different cultures, but they're like, yeah, but Chinese culture is still the best. That's a deal. That's a deal. But part of it is just they grew up, that's what they heard. But I think like compared to the older generation, it's not as a lot of them are much more open to it nowadays, and much more open to people, I guess, like of different ethnicities and stuff like that nowadays. So it's not bad, but but until then though, like if you just like look at most of us, we meet more of the older generation people because they're part of our families and all that. That's what it is. So you gotta hear more of that on a daily basis there. But yeah, like, but yeah, like I think like I said, I do think that like my family's a little bit better on that aspect, because I knew some like friends when I was like going to school, their parents had like a much bigger dramas when they had like stuff like that happen, that type of deal. So it's like, yeah, I think like my family is kind of like my extended family generally is like they may complain a bit, that type of idea. But then once like the person's married off and whatnot, they just leave them alone. On that for the most part, and that which is more than what some people I know could say right there. On that. But yeah, like but yeah, it's one of those, but yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, a lot of these like families and like that type of is just kind of how they were grown up with, and that's why there's like this inherent racism that, like in the older generation there, that type of deal. And they don't, I would like to say they don't necessarily mean anything bad to them. Like they're not gonna go off and like like express that racism to like these like peoples, nor treat them in a way that makes you think they're racism. They're racist. Like for example, like my mom, for example, like that. She's like she's kind of like she has certain disdains for certain like like ethnicity and stuff like that. But if she meets them in person, you would never think that type of deal. They're very good at like she'll like she'll help them out, that type of deal, be all smiles for them, ask how they're doing, so on and so forth, and everything, and speak to them in a very normal tone that you would do with anyone else. You would never really see it. But so like but yeah, a lot of it is just like really just you really only hear it expressed around like family members or so that there are people they trust, that type of deal. Right. Oh, but yeah, there's like a little bit of the cultural background there. I'm not sure how it is, like, for you, IsekaiNonsense, but that's kind of like how my experience has been, and a couple other people around me have been that I went to school with. On that.
Yeah, doesn't fall from the tree much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because how I grew up is more of a majority of us are more or less the same Asian. So I didn't really have that much didn't grow up with that much like xenophobia or like racism. But yeah, like in closed, like you don't know what happens in closed doors. So
yeah, yeah, that's probably better to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it is just like part of it is, I think it's just like in a way it's kind of like my family in general are kind of very suspicious at things. Like I remember even when we were back in China, they the adults were definitely like a lot more panicky and more like jumpity than they normally were, even though like it's even though it's an environment where they probably should be all right in, because they speak the language perfectly and stuff like that, and they lived there for a while, that type of deal. That I think like when we were there though, they were noticeably on a lot more higher, I guess, like stress points than they normally were at. They're like naturally, so they're like freaking out over much more smaller things and being a lot more draconian and so like that. I think maybe that in a way that kind of could influence like their less positive traits and on that type of deal. But yeah, as it's like I say, you don't know what happens behind closed doors.
I think for like your case, Fuji, I think it's more like it's kind of like xenophobia. Yes, they're not, in a way, depending what it is, they kind of just not used to it. Not used to like let's say like a person who an Asian person grew up in a Western country going back to the Asian countries, and they see it's kind of weird, or like they're not used to it very much.
Yeah, I think in the case of my mom, that was definitely very much the case, because the China she knew since she up until she was 20 is different than the China now, for example. I mean,
it's been like 20 years, right? 20 plus years.
Yeah. So it's like, so like for her, I definitely understood. It's just like someone like my uncle or my aunt who made very routine trips over the decades. That was a bit more surprising. That type of deal. But no, I see. I don't disagree though. Yeah. But yeah, it's like I don't disagree with that. Like hear the stories that like my mom would tell me about her like childhood and stuff like that. It's like it's definitely very different than like the China you see today when we went back there. But all right, anyway, let's move on to the next topic over here. So we have a little bit of like interesting news. Something that actually kind of came up kind of recently. So like for those so Harry Potter actually is involved in vaguely related to Harry Potter. And, J.K.
Okay.
Rowling actually like apparently over. I found this out apparently last week through like Twitter, but J.K. Rowling apparently over this week or something like that, like under I think a different name, released a book or something like that. That's a video, a new book that's I think someone said was actually longer than the Book of Dune. Or something like that, and it was
What?
yeah, like
What?
yeah, it was like she released a book I think under a different name that I think someone said was longer than the Book of Dune, though someone could definitely fact check me on that. But it's like different. But basically, the book was I think I can't say remember where she released it at, but basically she released this book, and the book was basically about a YouTuber or something like that that makes all these cartoons and skits or something like that, and then they get persecuted by the public for being like it being transphobic or something like that. That type of deal. All that.
That's what she did like earlier in the year.
Yeah, like
Damn.
like it was like it was like basically details like the YouTuber struggles basically trying to like defend themselves from the masses for like using their cartoons and stuff like that, and skits of being trans like phobic and whatnot, and then just seeing like how like everything just turns against her or something like that. and then like that type of deal, which is eerily similar to kind of what she has been doing over the past few years.
What in the?
Dude, you must be high, man.
Yeah, like
you know
she
what's even sadder though? Because stuff like that actually does happen on the YouTube space.
it does and like she claims in her case like she's like, oh yeah, that had nothing to do with my past histories and run-ins with transphobia and stuff like that. That's a deal. But obviously
No, she says.
I call bullshit, dude.
yeah, it's like, but yeah, a lot of people aren't really convinced and all that there, to say the very least.
As they should. As they
Yeah.
should.
Yeah, and all that. So it's like, yeah, I'm trying to look it over really quick. Yeah, so it's called the Ink Black Heart. That type of deal and all that. No,
That's a weird
Black
name.
Heart.
This sounds like a sequel to My Immortal.
Damn, dude.
We're going there.
Yeah. Like I'm reading off an article by the Rolling Stone, but basically, pretty much in her new book, the Rowling introduces readers to Eddie Lowell, a creator of a popular YouTube cartoon who sees internet trolls in her own fandom turn on her after the cartoon was criticized as being racist and ableist, as well as being transphobic for a bit about a hermaphrodite worm, that type of deal. And then talks a bit about how the creator basically gets doxxed and whatnot, and like gets death threats, and then later, apparently at the end, is found stabbed to death at the in a cemetery there. And in the book,
Jesus
pretty much she like
Christ.
seems to take aim at social justice warriors and suggests that she was basically that the YouTube creator was the victim of a masterfully plotted, politically fueled hate campaign against them. That type of deal. On that.
What the?
I have no
Okay, first of all, what drug? What drug was used?
cocaine. It must be cocaine.
Secondly, why does this sound like a cross between a certain webtoon and a certain doujin that shall not be named?
But yeah, she obviously, she was like, she claims it's a coincidence. She was like, yeah, some of the stuff that like, she was like, yeah, I should make it clear that after some of the stuff that has happened last year that this is not depicting that. She was like, I wrote this book before things happened to me online, and she was claimed she told her husband that yeah, people are gonna think this is a response to what happened to me, but it wasn't. It was the first draft was complete before like it was finished at the point those things happened. But obviously, yeah, as we mentioned earlier, no one's really quite buying it there. It's like,
Oh my god.
It's so sus.
yeah, so that was like, yeah, that's like a little bit of amusing news that hot news that happened there, that over time from the creator there. But yeah, another like music news though, yeah, so one of the subreddits I visit, Gacha Gaming has recently hit 200k followers there on there, or whatever the term would be for redditors there. But it's like and they decided to to pretty much like as like a big celebration of sorts, they compiled a list of pretty much I guess gacha events that has happened since November, I believe, of last year up till now. And obviously these include some of the outrages and the controversies there, which I will now share over here. So probably the big ones they held, well, we talked a bit about this before we started the podcast, but you had the infamous third anniversary of Honkai Impact, that type of deal. That where the backstory of this one was back in April 2021, they had the global version had their third anniversary, and this included a global event and a lot of promotional videos very much featuring, you know, bunny girl designs and dance moves. Yeah, like yeah. This is, I think I don't remember what, I don't know too much about the details on this one, but I heard some stuff. I believe the bunny girl featured this one particular character called Fu Hua, who was a very popular character in China, and so like the fact that they saw their Fu Hua wearing this lewd bunny girl design and doing all these dance moves was seen as very insulting to them. That's what it is. So that's part of the outrage there. But the Chinese community was, in addition to that, they were also outraged that Global was getting global exclusive events, even though China has gotten a bunch of their own exclusive events over the years and all that type of deal. And and on top of that, their events got even better rewards. So they basically, so like it blew up. They pretty much directed at MiHoYo, which included promises of torture and death threats, that type of deal. On top of it, which eventually they, you know, as like after, I'm not sure if this is the one that had the assassination attempt on a MiHoYo executive, yeah, but yeah, like. After like all the events that happened, MiHoYo eventually, you know, scrapped the entire global exclusive event, took down all the promotional videos, and then they gave a bunch of official statements. And then to be as a, it didn't, because like China threw a big fit over it, as an apology, they then gave them 5 times more compensation than global players, despite them not having, beside that, yeah, even though they did not lose any anniversary events and all that, and their version was not even impacted whatsoever by the global event. That's a deal.
Look, CN people, they're gonna be pussies.
So yeah, like yeah, so that was like one of the big controversies that happened. Another one is over, you know, a game that, you know, 60% of us here in the room right now play, PGR and all that type of deal. Yeah, this was the background. This is the those of us that played at launch. This was the one where the game, when PGR launched and all that, it immediately nearly became subject to immediate controversy right away, made by some community members within the official Discord server. The big reason was there were a lot of other stuff, but there was like one of the big reasons that a lot of people were really fed up was basically they did not like the prices of the premium packs there, because basically PGR does a very roundabout way of paying for premium packs. Like, you don't just like, so a lot of gacha games, they show the premium currency, you see the amount that you have to pay, and then you pay it up front. But PGR kind of does some like weird middleman thing where you had to buy black cards, or not black, or no rainbow cards. You had to buy rainbow cards, that type of deal, to buy that type of deal, and then in order to pay for whatever premium packs are, because they're all in like rainbow cards, that type of deal. So you don't, so it like leads you a bit more like mental calculating to figure out how much it is. And in this case, the big one for the monthly pack was it needed 30 rainbow cards in order to buy it. And this is where the controversy came from. So like a lot of games, when they have these monthly passes, you know, you just do one single payment. It's normally just like $5 US dollars, and that's it. That's how a deal. But in the case of PGR, what made people outraged was that so it costed 30 rainbow cards to get the monthly card, but the $5 pack was 28 rainbow cards. That's a deal. So you had to pay an extra $1 to go and buy in order to pay for a $5 premium pack, basically. You know that there. So it's like, and it requires, so you had to pay an extra $1 on top of it to have enough currency. And then so some people were upset about it because this is kind of like in a way scummy, because a lot of games here you just buy the monthly pass outright for $5 US and that's it. That's how it deal. But here they don't give you a flat amount where you can just pay for the for the pack. So technically you're overpaying for the monthly pass, and some people weren't really liking that. And then in response to that, the community member pulled a Diablo and was saying that like, oh yeah, you guys are just trying to nitpick because you can't afford to spare $1. That's a deal there.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
yeah, you told us about that, dude.
Yeah. So since the Discord at the time was not was owned by an inactive community admin, that type of deal, like that the mod was not held accountable whatsoever and did not have to apologize to anyone. That type of deal.
When they basically purged.
Yeah, we're getting to that. Yeah, we're getting to that. So yeah, over the next day and all that, which is pretty much over like around 12 to 16 hours. Yeah, it basically like that, like the server pretty much staged an outright revolt and all that type of deal. Damn. And all that, it turned into a bunch of spam and chaos because the mods weren't really, weren't really doing anything to like put out the fire and was in a way antagonizing the people and all that type of deal, and there wasn't any statements, that type of deal. So eventually they had like
Australia.
yeah, so
no,
so eventually like that is an announcement by the community manager finally was made regarding the incident, and then they put it under official management and they locked it down. That type of deal. They locked it down, that type of deal, and pretty much wiped a lot of stuff. They then after 2 weeks finally reopened it there. But yeah, that was like one of the big like controversies that happened during that time. There was other minor stuff that happened during that time too. There was like things like the rewards weren't the same as China, so people felt like they were missing out on premium currencies. And then also they had this like event going on where it's like, oh yeah, there's this like a lottery event thing going on where I think it's like you can like do the slot machine thing and then you can get currencies, and at the very end, at the very end you can get this nice skin for one of the characters in the game. But someone found out that if you're a free-to-play player, you're pretty much never going to come even close to getting that skin, that type of deal. So the only way you can get that skin is you shell out a bunch of money, which didn't sit well with people because they're like, they're already right at the gate trying to make us like pay a ton of money. They like, basically cash cow it. So yeah, that was like but yeah, that on top of everything else was not pretty there. that we then had the infamous Genshin Impact first anniversary, that type of deal.
Here we go
with that one.
Here we go again.
And plus, we're at the month of the anniversary for Genshin Impact as well. How ironic.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most widely known controversies in like gacha gaming in recent years. That type of deal, at least outside of things like the side games. I don't remember what it was called, Monkey Gate or something like that, or whatever.
Monkey Gate, what?
Yeah, that. It's like maybe I'm getting the name wrong. That. It's basically I'll get to the side games one later. But it's like,
Okay,
but yeah. But for Genshin though, yeah, this one for those that aren't aware, basically around September, pretty much they announced Genshin to announce their first anniversary, and was like, oh yeah, this is like what we're gonna have some login stuff, we're gonna have a web event, but where you get a % chance to win rewards, so nothing guaranteed and all that. And then there's gonna be a lot of all these other non-game related events that needed players to do a lot of extra effort in order to have a chance to win as well. So things like make some Genshin Impact videos, take some nice photos, cosplays, art, that type of deal, which upsetted people because it's like for those people that just either don't have the resources, the time, or the skills to provide these, you're automatically excluded from these rewards. And then the web event itself, for it being a % chance to win stuff, didn't sit well with people too. And then the login stuff was also very insufficient too. I think like it came down to like in the end they only provided like a multi at most or something at the time there. Yeah. So like people were like very mad about this because the event, for those that are newer to gacha gaming,
but I think I remember now, it was like equivalent to one roll. Oh
yeah, so it was 1,600
to roll, but they gave out like 360, I believe.
Yeah, so it's like only one multi essentially, and maybe like a single row afterwards or something there.
1.5.
Yeah. Like for those that are not familiar with gacha games in general, or like maybe Genshin is your only gacha game or something like that, it's like the anniversary events in these gacha games are normally huge. Normally anniversary events are the times where like the gacha games would splurge hard on the rewards, and this normally includes like multiple rows, like multiple 10 rows, that type of deal. So like you can easily get like a lot of your more generous games would give you hundreds of rows, that type of deal, and then the ones that are a bit more stringent may give you still like a good amount like of rows where you can do several multis, a lot of like nice events, rewards and stuff like that, maybe like things to help gear up your units better or level them up better, evolve them, etc. But Genshin's was very like underwhelming, and on top of it, there were a lot of rewards that weren't guaranteed, which no gacha game really does. Every gacha game that does its anniversary rewards, it's guaranteed. Maybe you have to do a little event for it, but the event normally isn't that hard. That type of deal. So obviously this didn't sit well with a lot of the players, And then like so they pretty much voiced their displeasure, and miHoYo, being the gracious, you know, gacha gaming company they are, started silencing all of their comments, that type of deal, and all that, you know, outright removing the comments, you know, nuking the threads, all the, you know, the usual, you know, overseer stuff, that type of deal, and all that. So this led to a bunch of review bombing, which I took part in too, of course. Not there. And like
Yeah.
yeah, because I was actually kind of excited for the first anniversary myself, and all that. That was the thing there. You know that.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah.
Hashtag don't slight Fuji.
Wow.
Yeah.
Luckily, I stopped playing around that time, so I don't care.
But yeah, it led to a bunch of review bombing, which, you know, fun fact is, like 3 months after the first anniversary, I actually got a reply back from miHoYo giving me the, you know, the good old generic response of, oh, thank you for your feedback. If you have anything you know, you think we could do to improve our game, you know, be sure to send an email to blah, blah, that type of deal. So they actually saw my review, I guess, at some time down the road.
Your game is bad and you should feel bad.
Make a better game, jeez.
Damn.
But it just led to like a lot of like players basically, you know, making up memes with the Genshin reward anniversaries and all that. There's like a very, you know, amusing like meme where it basically showed like, oh yeah, Genshin, you know, anniversary rewards if it's by Games, and like Genshin anniversary rewards if it's by like, you know, Azure Lane people or Yostar, I guess, that type of deal and all that. and so it's like so yeah, it was like yeah, it was like, yeah, people weren't really too pleased by it overall. And after that, you know, after like the whole debacle, pretty much eventually miHoYo kind of like grudgingly made the anniversary a bit more generous and gave, you know, more primo gems, that type of deal, some more rewards, and then just kind of just called it a day. That type of deal.
From what we got from that thing, we only got the glider and then something else I forgot.
Yeah, like they gave a few more primo gems as well, I remember, but it wasn't like anything crazy amount. Like, I mean, it was substantial. It was like substantially and like more, but it wasn't anything like game changing now. If I remember correctly.
I don't want to say it's substantially more. It's still pretty on the low end.
Yeah, pretty low.
I think when it came down to like the extra amount of primo gems was like still less than like a, you know, a multi, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it doesn't equal to a multi. It's like
I think it was like 400 each, like for 3 days.
Okay. How many days, sorry? 400 days. 400 on how many days?
I know it was like it was definitely like a few days.
400 primos for like 3 days, I believe.
Yeah.
3 or 4 days, I don't remember.
That's 7.5 rolls.
Yeah, so
yeah, they didn't make the 10 roll count, so they cheated.
Yeah, the half annoys me. Just give us 8 rolls or 7. Just don't make it half.
Hey, don't you need another 10?
Damn.
I mean, that would be nice.
yeah, this also led to the this also led to the popularization of, like, for those that don't know, this also led to the popularization of the emote or sticker of the character Chi-Chi lying down on social media as well.
That Chi-Chi.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, this also led to the popularization of it even more. Not if it wasn't already doing well up until then. And all that. But yeah, like, but yeah, pretty much after, like, they kind of conceded in the end. They didn't really admit to anything, but in the end, miHoYo, you know, did the good old business move where they pretty much were like, oh yeah, we still have more rewards to give you guys, that deal and all that after the whole backlash, after the backlash, but they didn't acknowledge, you know, anything really, you know, and that was pretty much the end of that one there. The player base kind of was a bit more settled down, I guess, after that. You still at the point and all that, so it's like.
You say that.
Say that. But then around the time they keep review bombing other games as well. So like,
that is true. Yes, they did go into other games and just review bomb them. Probably a lot of this, I think, is just like to draw. Part of it is like, you know, some of these people are just trying to draw attention to the Genshin like anniversary, so they go to other games and for some reason review bomb them anyway. And then some of them are also just like people who are very new to gachas and just assume that all gacha games are made by miHoYo, so they go to other games and review bomb them.
They're so petty and sad that it's just funny.
Way to be scummy.
Yeah, like, I mean, either way, it's not the way to go, because it's like in the end, you know, these games don't really have anything to do with miHoYo, but you know, people would do what they do there. But yeah, like, yeah, there's some that definitely seemed like, you know, like based on what they were replying in the comments, it did seem like they were under the assumption that a lot of these gacha games were just only under MiHoYo. I don't know, but it's like, but a lot of the other ones that were doing that were just trying to draw attention to it for better or worse. That type of deal, which it shouldn't probably, they really should have just kept it to, you know, Genshin in the end, because these other games really just don't have a thing to do with it. But
I mean, it makes sense if they review bomb other MiHoYo games, but they go into other gacha games that has no relation to MiHoYo.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like a lot, because like you saw like these other comments and things like, you know, you saw some in PGR, you saw some in like in like FGO. FGO, you even saw some in like Pokemon Masters and all that. And it's like, you know, it's like it seemed like these people, you know, it's like I said, it's either they just try and draw attention, or they really just did not know that, you know, MiHoYo doesn't own all the gacha games in the market. That type of deal. And on that, it's like,
I think it's the
former.
This sounds like your basic white person response. You go and get what you want. You just burn everything to hell, just so you can get the attention.
Everybody's a Karen.
Is this a white thing, or is just the internet thing?
I think it's very much like an internet thing in this case.
It's both. It's truthfully Isekai. It's both. It's truthfully both.
I just want to point out that Ryu,
because it doesn't feel like a white thing, because it feels like everyone's doing it, not just white people.
Isekai, you're in Canada, like the nicest place in the world.
Isekai, you have not visited the Midwest. Like literally, how people act a lot of time. They're like literally like 80% of the Midwest like acts like that, and it's actually disgusting.
For context for our listeners,
I mean,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for context for our listeners, Ryu is a white person here, so we're not anti-white people or something here. I just.
It's okay.
We have 3 Asians here, and there's one.
It's okay. Talk crap. I can take it. Even I accept that the white man is just shit.
It's 3 Asians, 1 white guy, and 1 Mexican. There.
Yes.
We're a very diverse group of people here. So yeah.
Are we diverse? The Asians kind of, you know, majority here.
For tonight, once we.
I represent them.
Okay. Fine.
No, but yeah, after that pretty much put it into the first anniversary backlash. MiHoYo kind of gave some, you know, like some trickles of more a little bit of generosity, and then people were kind of calmed down for the most part regarding that particular controversy there.
Well, calm down is the sort of thing with the Genji community, because they are pussies, because they want to grab anything and just say controversy, and then that's it.
All right. But yeah, we also had some.
With every fandom, I'm just gonna put an asterisk over there. Every fandom, asterisk.
Yeah.
You know that. And we also had probably one of the things that happened the later 2021 year is Blue Archive came out and also became one of the one under heavy controversy right there. So probably one of the big things that that people were upset about in the case of Blue Archive was that up until the global release of the game, people were very were one of the biggest questions coming into the release of Blue Archive was, are the characters going to be censored or not? Because a lot of these games, when they come over to the West like that, a lot of times they are subject to censorship in some way or the other. Some games, you know, they don't. So people are fine with that. But then a lot of games, you know, sometimes they come over with some minor censorship and stuff like that, and some people are alright with it, some communities are not, so on and so forth, depending on the extent of it. And so up until the release though, that you had these, you know, the program director and all these other bigwigs pretty much talking about how oh yeah, this is gonna be, you know, the Blue Archive that you've seen, you know, overseas. There's gonna be no censorship, whatever, you know, we're gonna give it to you the way that it is, that type of deal, and you know, you guys can be really happy, that type of deal. But obviously, you know, if that happened, if that really did happen, as we are talking about this right now, that clearly did not happen. That type of deal. And
sorry. That controversy just reminds me of FGO. Because there's a certain character over there, just over there.
Buki?
No, not
Emmy Alter.
Oh yeah. It's you said certain characters I'm thinking about the writer situation. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, I mean, for the FGO thing, it doesn't make sense lore-wise. I mean, I don't necessarily dislike this the recoloring, but story.
FGO lore doesn't even make sense anymore.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. It's everything just out the window.
Like literally, almost half of FGO lore existed because Grand Order came out, and we have to change everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And I for one welcome our new resident Emiya with a fade. Shout out to you, Doom. You're the one that came up with that.
He got
His words, not mine.
He got slightly more tan than his other counterpart.
Yeah, his JP counterpart.
Yeah.
Which thank God I didn't pull him.
But yeah, like pretty much, yeah. Obviously, that so the controversy started where they cropped that some of the game's first instance of censorship was in the form of cropping this character named Alice's introductory story scene. This was also made, which was also like I said, this was made very emphasized because they were very much up until this point saying that there was going to be no censorship, whatever. So obviously, right when this happened, the game got review bombed right away. Lasting beyond the time in which the official response was published. The game, which was doing really well up until that point, having about 4.5 stars, which is incredible. Up until that point, fell all the way to 1.7 stars at the lowest point. That type of deal, which honestly you kind of have to try to get there. You have to really try to get that low. That type of deal for like any game that naturally is releasing on this Play Store. That type of deal. And all that. So this had this led to a firestorm in the community, and then pretty much like adding further fuel to the fire. As the nature of the game and the scope and like the knowledge of what the game is became more public knowledge, that type of deal, and the characters of it, they're a minority of people, that this particular group of people joined in on the firestorm, calling all the players that played the game pedophiles, among many other terms, due to arguments for being outraged over the censorship of the artwork. That type of deal. So yeah, that was like some other hot controversies that happened during that period of time. Some honorable mentions comes from FGO China, going ahead and censoring some
But it's still happening.
Yeah, still doing it right now. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but beginning to do so, pretty much beginning to censor out either particular character names or changing their entire models, that type of deal.
Or basically censoring their artwork.
Yeah, the artwork thing was first, and then they started censoring the Chinese characters out of their LB3 on their time zone. So.
Yeah, and then you had Tower Fantasy, which just released, was discovered to also for stealing Honkai Impact 3rd assets, that type of deal. So there was that. And then you also had some other minor things, like the global Twitter account for PGR got hacked at some point earlier in 2022.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So that led to some amusement. Nothing really controversial, but amusement. This Skya had a infamous episode where their the Skya RPG, they had a server rollback, which caused people to lose progress in characters, and they didn't really do too well with the responses to that either. That type of deal. Which, truthfully, the story of the Skya and all that up until even in the JP server had a pretty bad track record in terms of how to deal with the public and stuff like that, because if I remember correctly, when the Skya gacha game came out in Japan, it had a bunch of crashes and stuff like that. That type of deal, server problems, all the stuff that comes with oh no, this game is off to a rough start. And they did what any well-meaning Japanese gacha gaming company would do, and blame the outsiders, the gaijin, for ruining their games by logging into the Skya server and bringing down their servers and whatnot for their external connections. Well, that's so
companies.
yeah, so they did, so that was an amusing thing that happened there too, and all that. And then Blue Archive Japan also had DDoS attacks, so they had a 24-hour long maintenance too as well. But
oh Jesus,
yeah, this was back in May of 2021, that type of deal. So yeah, that was a lot of other a lot of stuff that some of the more amusing stuff.
24-hour maintenance. Gee, I wonder what that reminds me of.
I lost my login on that.
Dude, everybody did.
The good old FGO maintenance and all that there at that infamous maintenance episode there. That was back when I was still playing too.
Yeah.
I didn't care too much, but I'm still salty they didn't give us just a flat 30 on that.
The flat 30 primos out of that, yeah, or like 60.
How many? Oh, did they give 24? I think
They gave us 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I got short end of the stick right there.
But yeah, like probably getting back to what I was talking about here. So earlier in the okay, so I did get it correct. So earlier we mentioned the monkey gates and all that type of deal.
Yeah.
This is an infamous Grand Blue Fantasy scandal that happened years ago. No, that type of deal, and it's actually pretty much the reason why Japan has gacha laws now. That type of deal. On that. So pretty much back in 2016, Grand Blue Fantasy, that type of deal. Like pretty much like some for those that never heard of Grand Blue Fantasy, it is a browser gacha game that you could play on your phone too if you get the app and all this other stuff too. And that is one of the biggest gacha games out in the world right now. It never came over to the West, but it didn't really matter because it had a full English setting on it. So if you were willing to get through a little bit of hurdles, that type of deal, to register an account and so on and so forth, you can play Grand Blue Fantasy yourself in pure English just fine. That type of
Thanks,
deal.
internet.
But back then though, 2016, the game was only 2 years old. So obviously, being 2016 gacha gaming, the mobile market wasn't, or at least the gacha gaming mobile market wasn't quite the juggernaut it is today. That type of deal. And so as a result, being the environment it was in, most of these games were very unregulated, which involved, like things like there wasn't really many laws or quality control going on, that type of deal for these gacha games, that type of deal. So around this period of time, there's like for an example, pretty much the rate of running SSR is 3% in this game, to give you an idea.
Oh, I remember now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Around this time in 2016, Side Games had a very good idea. They're like, why don't we create some nice themed SSR characters? We base them off the Chinese zodiac animals and only have them in a limited gacha, that type of deal, during the corresponding year. So 2016 happened to be the year of the monkey, that type of deal. Hence the name that the scandal came from, Monkey Gate, that type of deal. Now obviously, being a limited gacha, for those of us gacha fans, this is pretty much a big money earner. That type of deal. Basically, put a limited premium character in front of a bunch of gacha gamers, they're probably gonna want to get that. They're gonna get that sense of urgency to pull that character before they disappear. That type of deal. And all that. So like one of these particular excited people was a streamer who went by the name of Taste, who then decided to, on top of, to join in on the excitement of pulling for these, Zodiac characters, he was gonna live stream himself rolling the gacha for Monkey. That type of deal.
Oh no.
On that. Yeah, so I'm reading off a thread on the hobby drama subreddit there that chronicles this, so I don't mix up my details too hard. But pretty much a bit of background: the overall rate is 3%, 6% special occasions, but for the most part it's 3%. And then obviously Grand Blue Fantasy has a bunch of characters, so your pool gets diluted. So the rate for a specific character is less than 1%. That type of deal. On it, they have they have some featured rate up banners and whatnot, that type of deal. And he held this stream during a banner where Monkey and 2 other characters were all on rate up. So he proceeded to roll and all that, and he continued rolling and rolling and all that, because the reason he continued to do this was because after 2,000 rolls, he still hasn't gotten a single copy of Monkey and all that type of deal.
Oh my god.
So whether it's bad RNG or whatever, he already gotten a ton of copies of the other characters. So either he was just extra having the worst luck you can ever have in a casino type game, or something was up. That type of deal. That type of deal. So, but after a while though, he finally pulled his first Monkey after some 2,000 plus rolls, or if you convert this into money, $6,000. That type of deal, over $6,000.
It was bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, and this wasn't unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, his stream was not an isolated incident. That type of deal. That type of deal. It was the most widely discussed because he actually streamed it live to people, but then other players were then revealed to have spent crazy amount of money on Grand Blue Versus, which are now having people confirm what they were starting to suspect, that maybe the other two characters, had higher rates than what Monkey had, that despite what they were told, that type of deal, and all that. And everything. So it pretty much came to surface that while it was not technically lying to say that Monk was on rate up, the actual rate of rolling her was a lot more lower than it was expected. That type of deal. And someone of course did some nice calculations as proof, and it was very much revealing that. So obviously the players were not happy about being lied to, since Size games have never declared their gacha rates, and Monkey was on rate up, but they were being taken some way. So this ended up taking up a lot of news on the internet, and it got very big to the point where it actually started showing up in newspapers in Japan. That at this point now it was in the public domain pretty much. So this eventually led to pretty much the side games apologizing, and then you had some big organizations start joining in here. You had the Japan Online Games Association getting involved into it, launching investigations and stuff, that though they eventually dropped it without consequence. But they did, however, release a bunch of guidelines saying that, hey, you gotta follow these stuff, which is you gotta announce your gacha rates, and you gotta set and get a cap spending, that type of deal. Grand Blue, in their case, they added a failsafe to the gacha where, which is nowadays a spark system, that type of deal, where after you roll 300 times on a banner, or about $900 you can just pick an item to obtain, that type of deal. And then they refunded all the rolls for Monkey that are for people that have already rolled it, pretty much making their rolls on that banner free, that type of deal. So at least they did some good stuff out there, at least.
If only I had a sound clip available to describe my feelings towards the company for doing this. Oh, wait.
Congratulations, you played
There it is.
That reminds me with the whole Dokkan thing with the 300 stones as well.
Yeah.
The whole Kefla banner.
Other change they put on there, they made sure to announce individual rates for each and every item in the pool, so that way they can prevent another I wasn't technically lying, that type of deal from happening again. That type of deal. Other games, seeing the backlash that happened in Grand Blue Fantasy, eventually, did pretty much follow their lead. And pretty much now games that don't do that pretty much die really quickly, because it's now suspicious, that type of deal. So they pretty much obviously they learn from their mistakes, to their credit, and from then on pretty much most of their games have been fairly generous and relatively friendly to the user base to this point now. But this was very notable for changing the gacha landscape, because they actually started bringing some regulations into place and stuff like that afterwards, and some guidelines that a lot of these Japanese gacha games now have to follow pretty much. Although obviously being how things are, there's some ways to skirt around some of these, but that's a story for another day. But that was some nice juicy gacha controversies over here.
I probably should add that if people don't know about Grand Blue Fantasy, when you get the weapon or the item, that actually you're also getting the character along with it. So that's how they are able to have that pity system with the sparks. And this is coming from a person who used to play Grand Blue.
You quit again? I forgot.
Yeah, I quit again. I might go back to it eventually. I mean, I don't know when, but eventually.
It's a fun game, but you do have to kind of keep on it. It's
I kind of quit during and after the Door event.
Yeah, I only play events on Grand Blue. I don't do main story.
Maybe that's the way to do it, though.
Main story, what's that?
I mean, the story is entirely voiced, and there is an option where they basically give you a recap where you don't have to go through the entire story. You just have, as the name suggests, a recap of it. And then they will give you a crystals, which is the gacha currency, and then they give you the weapon, the free weapon that you can have. And then, so there's that option, but again, it's still really long. I don't know how far I went, but it's still long. Great game though.
Yeah, it's a game I do recommend. It's just, it's very grindy. There's a lot of stuff to do, and on that, it's like in the end, it kind of feels like, I mean, I'm sure you could definitely very much not do it, but in a way, it kind of felt like, man, if I play this game, I kind of have to dedicate a lot more time than I'm willing to. That's a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a reason it is called Grind Blue Fantasy, so there is that too.
That is true.
You gotta just follow what I do, and just look at the dojins.
Speaking of Grand Blue, the fighting game is going to be free on PS Plus soon.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can I get my $60 back?
Oh, you're not getting it back.
It's $60. Oh god.
It was when it dropped. It's like $30 right now.
Yeah.
We all agree that Ladiva still has like one of the best finishers.
Who?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of. Wait, what was I thinking?
What were you thinking?
Take your time.
This man right here, his brain is malfunctioning before us.
I don't know why I went to like the fighting game for Grand Blue. So
I mentioned it, so that's
okay. That's what I thought, and I mentioned Ladiva's level 3.
I don't know who that is.
He is like this wrestler, the grappler character in the game there.
Voiced by Patrick Sykes with the heart of a lady.
Sorry, I only know Japanese dubs. I don't know English dubs anymore.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, blame the whole Vic controversy thing. That's why I switched permanently on JP voices.
Come on. At least not Patrick. Patrick didn't do nothing.
I don't know. His Twitter says something else, dude.
Yeah, Grand Blue Versus was definitely a good game, but it came out at a bad time, unfortunately, so it never quite took off as much as people expected it to do. That's a deal. No, that sounds like now the game is now it's kind of in a way the butt of jokes right now in terms of I think it doesn't have rollback either yet, so people are kind of
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so there are people just joking about how it's basically the forgotten child now. That's
no, the forgotten child is Relink.
There's that too. Yes.
Stuck in production for 10 plus years, I think.
Yeah, I remember I remember one of my friends when they were that was really into Grand Blue was definitely hyping me up about Relink, showing me all the trailers and the gameplay for it, and then it never really got anywhere after that. It's I
mean, they announced that it's gonna be released, I think, last year, but nothing came out of it.
They just hope we will forget about it.
Silencio.
Oh, okay. Sorry, the initial release date has been changed to 2023.
Yeah, every game's coming out in 2023.
2023.
I mean, to me, from what it looks like, it is basically a retelling of the original, the OG Grand Blue, but with a different playstyle. But who knows?
It sounds like that's a game you're excited for, though, Isekai, right there.
I mean, I was excited, then I kind of literally forgot. Then I basically forgot about it until one of my mods showed me it again, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this thing existed.
Was it once?
It was once, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was like, "Oh yeah, we should." And yeah, Wins also said that there's multiplayer, so yeah, maybe we can play it. And I'm like, whenever it releases,
which is never.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
Imagine it comes out 5 years later. Isn't there that Arknights game that was supposed to come out anytime soon?
I think
it's still in production?
there was production, and then it just went radio silent.
Yeah. Same as Fate Extra Record, but it got more stuff a couple weeks ago, I believe.
Yeah, we finally got some news from it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know about the Fate Extra Record, they went radio silent because of I believe
internal conflict.
Yeah, internal conflict was a mix of dev hell and publishing issues, I believe.
I think it was just dev hell because the creative differences.
Oh, okay. Because I think they were trying to find, because I heard, I'm not sure, someone please fact check, that they were also trying to find a new producer for Record.
I believe so.
So publishing issues. Yep.
I love them.
Yeah. I'm excited for that more than Grand Blue right now.
Same. You can finally stream it.
I want to, but it's not coming out.
So which route are you taking? The Emiya, Tamamo, or Umu route?
Okay, if it's the same as the OG, then do I want to hate myself and go hard, or do I want to be somewhere in the middle? If it's a, if it's like the, if it's an OG, then I might do Emiya first because he's right down in the middle of hardness, like difficulty.
Yeah.
They never said like if it's gonna be like a 1-for-1 like retelling or just like something new.
They said that the combat system will change. The maps, well, they look prettier, but it looks similar to what I can recall. Yeah, and yeah, it's basically a reimagining.
Yeah, fair. Do you think they're just gonna have Arcade as the secret boss again, or no?
Wait, that's spoilers.
It's the game has been out for over 10 years.
That is true. It's 12 years old.
It's I think it passed the statute of limitations on spoilers.
Okay. Yeah, so Alucard and Shiki were secret bosses or Easter eggs in the original. And maybe that'd be nice. It would be a nice throwback.
And I thought Shiki was secret boss in like CCC.
No, she's in extra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was an extra. CCC, I don't think it has any secret bosses, up to my knowledge. It could have, I'm not sure. Never played it because it never got localized.
I could fact check it later.
Oh, the spoiler thing kind of reminded me of like I think a year or two ago, I was like streaming FGO and someone in my chat was actually watching the thing, like was talking about like the original Fate series, like Unlimited Blade Works, Fate Route, etc. And they were talking to me about like how like I think they were watching it, or maybe they sounded like they were already finished it or something like that. And then I made a comment about like and I hope there's no one that gets offended by this because this thing is very much over the statute of limitations at this point. But yeah, I made a comment about how it's like, oh yeah, like it's gonna be like Ilya getting like murdered by Gilgamesh or something like that there, and the viewer got like amusingly upset about it, that type of idea, because it turned out they actually never got that, they actually never saw that part at all whatsoever in like the Fates that they've seen, but they saw all the other series too, which are like which I think that was why I mentioned it, that type of idea, maybe because I thought that a lot of the maybe because I was going off the assumption that a lot of these like people that watch Fate are like me, where they started with the OG series, Unlimited Blade Works the movie, the original Fate show of Fate Zero. Yeah, exactly. So I kind of so like normally if you watch that, everyone knows more or less like bread and butter. There's a scene in Blade Works where Gilgamesh pretty much just kills Ilya and that type of deal, and then he just just takes her heart and all that type of stuff and all that. So like I mentioned that there, and they're just like completely like shocked, and they were like, oh my gosh, you just spoiled this for me. And I was like, and I felt bad, I kind of did felt bad, because I did not expect someone to not know that, who was very much into the Fate series, because the person knew a lot about like the lores and stuff like that type of deal, like the lores, a lot of the character background. So I was like, so the fact that this was a plot point that that like they didn't even know about caught me off guard, and they're like, so they're like, oh yeah, you just you should have just like held off on spoiler. I was like, Dean State Night was like nearly 20 years ago, that type of deal. It's like I think it's well past the thing. And I was like, and I remember I told her, I was like, it's like watching all of Star Wars, that type of deal, and then like you got into the expanded universe of Disney stuff, and then being shocked that Darth Vader is Luke's father or something like that type of deal. It was like, that's kind of what it reminded me of there, though. It's like,
it's their fault.
I mean, like, maybe I should have, like, I don't know, maybe I could have been a bit more considerate about what to say there, but it's just one of those things where it's like, with how long the thing has been out, holding off on spoilers kind of like at that point shouldn't really be much of a consideration, unless you actively knew that, they haven't seen that part yet, or they haven't watched that yet. That's a video, which I did not know whatsoever on that.
Also, I think they should have known that if they're gonna come into a Fate stream or something like that. That's my assumption. I
mean, I was just like going off the knowledge that a lot of people, were like me, that when their journey into Fate was just, Dean Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works the movie, and then Fate Zero, and type of deal. But like
that's that's no, that's like a little too deep. Most people start out with UBW.
No, this is before the TV show or was out, or maybe it was ongoing. I think at the time or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe no, it
actually-
wasn't ongoing actually. I can't remember if it was out then. You know, it was like
No, I
maybe
think
it was.
done. It's
Yeah,
been
yeah, it was
I
like
think
done
it's
for.
old.
Yeah, I think it was like done for like a few years at that point. And she sounded like she watched it too, because she was talking about points there. You know, so that was like also caught me off guard.
Well, she talked about she didn't know Ilya died.
Yeah, did she not know Ilya died to Gilgamesh and the Unlimited Blade Works
that
route?
was like literally the start of like season. Well, that was the end of season 1 of like UBW.
Yeah, like so like I was just caught off guard there. But
I actually still have not watched UBW yet.
yeah, but like I guess like my assumption was like I don't disagree, Isekai, that a lot of people that nowadays when they get to Fate, it is UBW TV show or Fate Zero. That's one of the big ones. But it was just like with someone that's like that deep into lore, you kind of think that they would know about like like I mean, maybe I'm making an assumption, but with someone that knew so much about the lore, maybe even more than I did at that point, that type of deal, I kind of thought they knew about Gilgamesh killed Ilya to take her heart for the Grail type deal and all that. But no, she did not know that, so that caught me off guard and all that there.
I have no words. Like how do you skip that? Like that's kind of an important thing.
I
there.
thought-
Actually, real to be truthful, I didn't start with the main series. I started with the spin-off with Fate Apocrypha.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
no you're fine, War. I'm not holding it against you, but I'm like, how, like, in that specific story, how do you miss that detail?
Yeah, like I mean, to be fair, maybe they hadn't seen UBW yet, but it was just like that's how it is. We never clarified that, to be truthfully honest. But it was just like I just kind of made an assumption that because they knew so much about Fate, and that's how idea they likely knew that part, because that was kind of like for me, Ilya getting killed by Gilgamesh was one of the I guess like in a way a fundamental knowledge point for me. That's a deal after watching the Fate series.
Because that was literally what he needed to do to get the Grail.
Yeah, and like it, that was like one of the things. Like I felt like as a Fate fan, everyone kind of just knew, and that's an idea. So that was like,
it's not your fault on that one, man.
yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, that was just like an amusing thing though. Like I think like now though, like I failed to take into account like when at the time that now that there were all these other Fate series. You had like at that point UBW had finished, and I can't remember if like Heaven's Field was starting up around that time, but it was like, but yeah, UBW has finished. There was Fate Zero and so on and so forth, and all that in Apocrypha, I think. But that I failed to take into account at that time that a lot of people's entry point may not be Dean Stay Night or the UBW movie, or maybe even Fate Zero, that type of deal. So that was maybe a bit of a my bad, but I do still think that like at the time, and maybe I guess truthfully a bit now, I still do think that you've gotten really deep into Fate lore. Everyone kind of just knows about the Gilgamesh killing Ilya portion, that type of deal, because that was like one of the big moments in like the entire like franchise, that type of deal on that. No, but yeah, like I mean that's just my take there.
Okay. You first, War. You first.
No, I said nothing wrong with it. That was it.
I also stand by this statement to this day. People still argue against me with it. I don't give a damn. The first opening song to Dean Stay Night is still one of the best opening themes in Fate.
OG or the remake?
The OG is what he's talking about.
OG.
Dean Stay Night, yeah.
Honestly, both versions of that song that they also use as like the insert between seasons 1 and 2 of Unlimited Blade Works is also still just top.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Lisa. What do you expect from that insert?
Which is weird because honestly, I think I might like the original a little better. Just a little.
That's your hot take of the week from Ryu.
You want some hot takes? We got some hot takes. Like, you would not believe how many people will argue with me that I am wrong simply because they find like the openings for Unlimited Blade Works and even Zero to be better, which I'm not gonna argue. You have your favorite opening, but for me, that opening is just top tier.
Nothing wrong with your opinion, man.
Thank you for accepting my opinion, unlike arguing against it, how some people have. It hurts me. It really hurts me.
Was it Evan?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes,
It's
it
always
was.
Evan.
It's always Evan.
I think I cut you off earlier, Isekai, though. What were you gonna say something about like the Ilya Gilgamesh thing and all that? Like, yeah, I think I cut you. I think you were about to say something. I actually cut you off.
I was answering to War because because he was mentioned that he didn't watch UBW yet.
Ah, okay.
No, I have not.
Yeah, that was just my take on it. It's like, yeah, like I guess like I don't know, even I guess like my argument still is like, you know, the thing that's one of those points that at this point, you know, it's over, you know, 10 years. Like I think at this point, you know, I don't think there's a reason for me, unless I knew that person hadn't seen it, that type of deal, to just like not talk about, you know, Ilya dying to Gilgamesh and everything, that type of deal, in like the UBW path, that type of deal. I guess you could maybe argue that with the new TV show, you know, maybe I should be a bit more. No, actually, the TV show is like what, out for like 6 years now, isn't it?
Yeah,
actually,
the TV show's been out since like 2014. Yeah.
2014. Isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like there's no excuse how she didn't.
Okay, so that's yeah. Like I mean, like yeah, like even yeah. So like yeah, I guess like I don't know. It's one of those points where I kind of felt like yeah, I think I don't need to hold back on just saying what happened in there. But like I said, if I knew, you know, it would have been a different story if I knew very much that they hadn't seen it. Then of course I wouldn't have said anything. But yeah. I'm not, oh, but yeah, like I don't, my hill to die on though is I think like my hill to die on in between the Unlimited Blade Works is I actually like the Emiya Archer fight in the movie better than the show. That's a video.
Ooh, that is a definite hot take.
Yeah. I definitely like that one more. That sequence more.
We're gonna need a side-by-side comparison in order to take notes, man. It's been a while since I've seen the UBW movie.
Yeah, like
I need a refresher too. Please
yeah, like my argument for the UBW movie, okay, is like I thought so I think that the TV show did a lot better than in conveying the differences in the ideals between the two characters, you know, Emiya and you know, Shiro. I thought the TV show definitely did much better in conveying, you know, their differences in ideology. That type of deal. What I thought it did not do better was I felt the impact of like the fight that happens in the like TV show was not as good as what it was in the movie. And on top of that, I also thought that the movie did a lot better in conveying Archer's really big frustration over why he hated Shiro, that type of deal. On that, because like yeah, like that type of deal. Because like I felt like when I watched the two scenes like that, like in the movie part, like that you can hear like Archer's like frustration and anger as he's duking it out with Shiro over like why he's like, you know, the way he is and stuff like that type of deal. And then like in the TV show, I felt like it was a bit more like of a, I'm not sure if I should say civil, but there's a good portion where they're kind of just, you know, on opposite sides just chatting with each other, that type of deal, on their ideals, debating, arguing, that type of deal. And you can kind of, it does a good job showing why, you know, they are the way they are. But I thought like the movie did a much better job of just conveying the frustration and anger that Archer had towards his other self over why like you know, like why Shiro is the way he is and stuff like that, and why Archer himself is like cannot really, like, that doesn't sit well with him. I thought that was like really, like, that's why I really enjoyed that one too. If that makes any sense.
I'm trying to find the fight right now.
Yeah.
Good luck finding it, buddy.
Yeah, because basically in a nutshell, you can watch it. We can probably ourselves watch it later, but it's like but basically right now, for like context of here, basically the big thing that like happens in, like, you know, the TV show is they go very in depth about their mindsets and why Shiro, you know, goes about the way he is there and stuff like that there. And then like Archer kind of just goes about his, you know, talks about, you know, what he thinks about all this stuff, and then they kind of fight it out later, that type of deal. And then, you know, everything's fine. In the movie, you know, they while they're discussing it, they're duking it out with each other. And I remember I don't really go too much into the TV side of the details, maybe because it's been a while for me and I don't remember it too much because it went on for quite a while. There's a lot of points that I don't really feel like I'll do it justice if I try to recite it from memory, that type of deal. But in the movie, because it was noticeably shorter, because they had to kind of skimp out on stuff, like that. A lot of Archers pretty much like they duke it out, and then Shiro actually sees Archer's like little, as he calls it, his future, that type of deal. That where he's like riddled with blades and swords and stuff like that. And then And then Shiro like then attacks Archer again. They duke it out, and Archer was like talking about like how like does Shiro really still want to be a hero? He goes around saying that he doesn't want to be a hero. He will become one. And then Archer very much goes in and rams him, saying like, of course you want to do this. It's because you're just very much more or less poisoned into thinking that type of thought. That type of deal. And then he pretty much rams into Shiro, saying that the reason he's into like being a hero is because he was in all of Emiya Kuritsugu saving him, that type of deal, and all that type of deal. Saying that like because like he saw how happy Kuritsugu was like in saving him, that type of deal, he wanted to kind of like be like him, and that his ideals are completely false because he like it because of what he saw from Kuritsugu, that type of deal. On that. While doing it, and I thought like the soundtrack and the the impact of that particular scene was like what made it win out for me over the TV show version. But I do think that the TV show for Unlimited Blade Works, when it comes down to it, is probably like objectively the better scene, because it covers it goes a lot more into depth into the mindset and the behaviors of both characters and why they're at ideological odds, that type of deal. But I felt like the impact of the UBW movie was much stronger when they were conveying their particular points there. That's like why I prefer that one over the TV show.
Completely understandable. I actually kind of agree with you on all points on that. I will be honest, Fuji. I'm also of like the opinion that there is something to be gained from the UBW movie, and I just hate the fact that people just throw it aside because we actually have the series now in order to say no, we don't need to watch it. Like just give it a chance. Give it a chance. That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah. And I mean, for what it's worth too, it's like for the movie was actually technically more accurate to the actual novel. It was just obviously they had to cut out a lot of stuff. That's so it did felt like it jumped around here and there, that type of deal. But it is a bit more accurate to the actual like light novel than the actual TV show was. But that's because the TV show was kind of going off the continuity from Fate Zero, that type of deal. On that, so it's like they took a few liberties to acknowledge some of the events in Fate Zero indirectly. So Forbidden also took a few other artistic liberties, like what was it, like Berserker pretty much losing a life at the cemetery fight when Archer shot an arrow at him there, like that. In the actual light novel, he kind of just I think he either swats it away or he dodges it, so he actually doesn't lose a life at that point. But but since like Berserker kind of just loses a bunch of lives anyway, in Unlimited Blade Works, he probably figured for the TV show it didn't really matter if he lost one at that point. So like that's one of the things there too. Probably one thing I did actually like about one of the things I do remember like watching the UBW TV show that I really liked though was they did a good job of like showing like Berserker's like immunity to certain weapons, that type of deal. Like one of the biggest attention to details I really loved in that TV show was like when Gilgamesh first fights against Berserker, like the first thing he does is he chucks a bunch of weapons at him and it just bounces off Berserker and it does nothing and all that. And then like Gilgamesh is like Gilgamesh then just pulls out one weapon that's a bit higher rarity and fires it off. And then he notices that Berserker swats away, and then he's like, okay, this one works. And then he just amps up the bounty, and then just blows him up right there. And all that, it's like that was like one of the things I really loved about that particular scene is the attention to detail to like the various different traits that the servants had.
Nukes, bombs.
But yeah, that's like my take on the that like a lot of people may disagree with on the UBW stuff there.
Well, the thing I would just say this is that the fight itself wasn't really a fight.
No, wasn't it like I don't know, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I thought in the TV show didn't Shiro just basically just stab Emiya and that was it? It was
that was essentially the fight. Everything else was just ideological battle.
Yeah.
that was basically the Emiya fight. So it's like when people talk about it as a fight, I'm like, there really wasn't a fight per se.
Yeah, like
they were just fighting with words.
Yeah, not really. There wasn't really too much of a fight, in all honesty.
Yeah, because because my memory of the TV show was basically, maybe they had a little bit of a fight early on, and then when they get to the actual reality marble, they talk. They just talk, and then Shiro basically just stabs Archer, and that's it. That type of deal. That's like all I really remember. That from that one there. It's like in the movie they do a bit more fighting while they talk. They don't talk as much, of course, so there's not as much detail into like their particular ideologies, but they do have a bit more of a fight scene there. It's like,
no, in the series, it was Shiro was just got his ass whipped for like about every quick cut, and then they just kept going to the ideological stuff.
But yeah, I do think that overall, when it comes down to, like objectively the scene was superior to the movie, but I do think that the movie did do that particular, I do prefer the movie's version a bit more though. That's a preference, and that's how I deal. And all that, but yeah, the TV show itself was great though. There was a lot of things I really enjoyed about it overall, and I still haven't finished the Heaven's Feel stuff either. I think
I want to try to get to it, but I just don't have access to them.
I still need to see the third movie.
Yeah, I think the third movie is the one I need to watch too. On that.
God, I had
really?
my brain hurts from like the marathon.
Isekai sounds like you saw all of them, right? It sounds like
Yeah. Okay. So, on my Discord server, I did a marathon. Well, one of my gracious community members, or as I call them, one of my co-children, helped me organize this marathon where we watch all of the Heaven Feels movies in one sitting, which was 6 hours. Mind you.
6 hours.
6 to 7 hours of all of us just sitting there watching all 3 movies with breaks in between, of course. We're not that crazy.
No. We only took like 3 breaks and then that was it.
Yeah, 3 15-minute break-ish. Each?
Yeah,
like per movie? Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
You effing mad lads. I can't believe you actually did it.
Yeah, we did.
You're there too, man. Don't lie.
And I know I was there, but I had to bow out after the second movie.
That doesn't sound too difficult.
Right? It's not that bad, right?
No, it's not. I sit
no.
on my computer all fucking day.
No, it's not. But it's just like I was spent and I had stuff to do in the morning. What do you want from me?
You could have just stayed a little longer, but I had less sleep because I had school the next day.
Like the heart is willing, but the body needs rest.
Drink coffee. You're the coffee ninja after all.
Caffeine can only take you up to a certain point at times, man.
I mean,
one of the things I do like, I remember I enjoyed about the about the Heaven's Feel movie. When did this movie come out actually? When did that come out actually? I'm gonna make sure that I can actually speak about it, or else I'm gonna get hated about it.
22 or no 2020.
Okay, maybe that's I don't know. Is that a bit too fresh? Should I just not talk about it?
no,
the
that's the
movies?
third.
Yeah.
That's the
Is that a
third.
bit too fresh? The second movie?
Let me check.
The second movie. Okay,
Yeah.
the first one came out in 2017.
Yeah, and then the second movie was 2020 on that.
2018, I think.
2018.
2019.
Okay,
And then
I-
the final is 2020.
Okay, I would like to think I can talk about it. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's like a little bit there.
Let's put like ahead spoilers and then that's
Yeah,
it.
so everyone listening or watching, spoilers for the Heaven's Wheel movies?
You could just was a chapter this thing.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just caption this really quick here on that into it. That way I know on that. But yeah, okay, so the thing that I was that I remember in particular about the Heaven's Feel movie 2 that I really liked, that creeped me out, was like, the scene where Sakura starts becoming the I don't remember what it's called, the shadow or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it's just the shadow.
Yeah, yeah, like the where she dreams that she's in a candy land and stuff like that, and eating off the yeah. I remember that scene quite a bit. And the music that I really liked about that thing too, me being a Gilgamesh fanboy, is Gilgamesh is kind of just very much well aware of what's going on the entire time. But and then when he goes to take her out, that type of deal is it just proves that one of those other things where it's in the end, the only reason Gilgamesh basically loses is he doesn't really take things as seriously as he should. He took things seriously enough in that case because I think he fired 3 or 4 phantasms at the head or something like that type of deal.
He fired most of his chains. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just like it did call it a day, but then he obviously in the end, underestimated it, and then didn't react fast enough and died. That type of deal.
The only thing left of him is his fucking leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like apparently, like I remember like reading like a bit of the lore. So like apparently like it was clairvoyance or something like that. He did actually see a future where like the Grail basically just eats him up or something like that. That type of deal, which was that particular future. But being Gilgamesh and being the bad, being they have to limit him somehow. He's so conceited that he couldn't really see how that's a possibility. That type of deal. So he chooses to willfully ignore that outcome. That type of deal, which ties into the the Heaven's Feel movie there. Because that was the one they was referring to in particular. On that. But yeah, I remember that scene pretty much stuck with me because it's like, oh shit, it just got really dark quick. Because it goes from like the heads of all those like creatures popping out the candy, so all of a sudden she's just like, you see her actually just in an area where like there's all these dead bodies around and so on and so forth. It's like, oh shit. On that.
It's like, oh Sakura, why you do this?
0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah. That. But yeah, like, but it was kind of neat that he kind of fully knew what was going on, though. I thought, like, out of everyone up until that point, he kind of knew, like, the hijinks that was going on there. But yeah, it was like, I thought, like, overall, though, the movies were pretty good. And obviously, everyone in the movie loved the Saber Altar reveal. I remember, that.
Yeah, buddy.
That finally. So, like, yeah, I remember that everyone was, like,
part
delighted about that.
OP.
But yeah, I remember like when I was watching the Heaven Fuse movie though, I remember like movie 1 that was like I remember that one was like I thought it was good, but it was also because it was just mainly a setup movie, that I didn't really come out of that like really thinking it was like amazing. It didn't make any sense there, mainly because it was just like a lot of it was very exposition when it came down to it, and then like it wasn't until like the second or third movies, which I haven't seen the third, but obviously the third one's the final one. That like the second, third movies is where finally all that finally starts. You start seeing the effects of everything that the first movie started building up to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like I don't know, War, Isekai. Did you guys enjoy the movies? On it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Even though I think all of us, by the time we finish, all of us are just like loopy and totally out of it.
I was out of it, and I had like a less hours of sleep because I had school.
Oh no.
One morning.
Yeah.
That.
I don't fault you, Isekai. It's just like I chose to stay up for the movies because I didn't want to miss a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's very fair indeed. Oh. Yeah, like actually for a fun fact though, I actually kinda, but not quite, we haven't gone back to this in a while. I actually started watching the Babylon TV show again for a while.
Hey, fun. Congrats,
Kinda.
Fuji. You're back to watching your favorite characters show.
It's not quite. It's
Yeah, Babylonia.
yeah,
Okay.
like we only started because Shar and I did not have a show we wanted to watch, so we kind of began watching it, but we hadn't touched it in like a couple of weeks, so who knows if we would get back to it. It was like that type of deal, but it was kind of like but yeah, it was like we did put that as like one of the things because the other option we were gonna watch was Tanya the Evil on that type of deal.
Oh my god,
It
yes.
was pretty good.
Yeah, like I watched it before, and there was a second season coming out soon, if not out already. That type of deal.
It should be.
I think
It'll be coming out soon. I don't remember hearing about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like so I wanted to get my like refresh. That was like one of the things I gave to her to watch was like I kind of want to refresh my memory of what's going on, and if it was interested, and she thought it was amusing, but she wasn't really too into it, maybe because she thought the art was weird and all that type of deal. So it's like so we ended up just watching a bit of like the FGO one instead. And I remember that, but yeah, Tiny the Evil, I remember I absolutely loved because that came out when I was in uni. That type of deal, and I was like, I remember I really loved it, but I felt like the big fight was anticlimactic in that one. Because like the reason I thought it was anticlimactic was because he did like the build up with like the guy because I think the storyline was like he lost his son or something like that in one of the raids or whatever, and then. Like it didn't like he wants revenge against her, and like there was a scene where it looked like he was like when he was loading up the slugs, it felt like he was imbuing them with some type of like I don't know power or something like that. But then the actual fight happened and didn't really felt like much came out of it now, so I was a bit disappointed at that point there. They kind of reminded me a bit of like Megalobox, that where like I felt like the final fight
Oh,
yeah, I felt
I
Wait, the
actually
first
like
season or the
that.
second season?
the first season.
First season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the end of the last episode of season 1.
Okay,
is-
okay.
Yeah, I thought that was
Okay, okay.
unfortunately disappointing because they tried the entire series to build up that particular fight, and in the end, they didn't really like. I
They
didn't think it
sort of showed
delivered.
it, and then at the end, they ended with
Yeah.
a freeze frame and never showed the clear winner.
Yeah,
I actually like that they don't show it.
I just thought that
I
like,
did not.
I just thought that like it should have had a. For me, I was like, I just thought that it was a bit more underwhelming than what it would have been. I don't mind the fact that there was no clear winner. It was just like I felt like the fight itself was more lackluster than I thought they were trying to build it up to, which was disappointing for me. Because
Didn't they tell you the winner?
yeah, they
I
did.
remember
I think
They
they
correctly.
showed
did.
up, but they
I
never
think they
showed the
did.
full fight, like how he won.
Like it also like
Mhm.
I also felt like the fight itself was like because when they were doing that fight, there was a lot of like there's a side plot going on during that time too. So I kind of felt like in a way they kind of stole attention from the main fight. But that's a deal that they were trying to do too. On that. That was like why I was like that was why I felt like it was a bit more disappointing of a final fight than I thought. I thought like for what they showed it was good, but it definitely felt like it should have had more on that, which is why it's why it then I never saw season 2, but it sounded like people weren't too pleased with that. I don't know. And it was like
Season 2, I like season 2. So
Wait, so wait, they actually did release season 2?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that was
out,
last
it's out.
year.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Season 2
Well,
was
It was alright.
yeah, like the journey was fine.
Yeah.
The journey was good. I'll say that.
Yeah, the beginning parts was good, and then like everything else was alright.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
scared. I'm scared. I'm scared to even attempt.
Just
You'll
watch
enjoy the
it.
journey. You'll enjoy the
Yeah,
journey.
you'll
I'll say
enjoy
that.
it.
Yeah, like I never started season 2 partially because like it's everyone I heard didn't seem to like it too much, so I was hesitant to begin it. It's like that's a deal. But I don't know. No, since you guys put it that way, maybe I'll check it out down the road.
Yeah, you should.
But yeah, I remember I absolutely loved season 1 of Megalobox, so especially the Araki fight was really good too. I think the one where like the guy that was the former student of the mentor or whatever, that type of deal. That was like that got me in the feels pretty hard and all that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, nowadays it feels like I just don't really watch as much anime as I did before, and I've been caught up in reading manhwas now more
See?
nowadays.
See?
I'm more with manga than anime nowadays.
Mhm.
And it's like because like was I think the only anime I'm watching right now is 2 that I'm kind of watching. I'm keeping up to date with Made in Abyss right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
Solid.
yeah, and then the other one I'm watching is Kingdom, that which like I'm all caught up in the manga for, that. But it's like it also made me realize that the anime is super far behind the manga, so it's gonna take forever to get there. That type of deal.
No, don't worry, it's gonna be like One Piece. It'll just take its time.
One Piece.
One Piece is over there using one chapter per episode now.
But they
That's
do
an
like a
improvement.
long recap and then the chapter.
That's an improvement, ain't it?
Yeah, but yeah, it's like
Kind of.
like I don't know. Kingdom for me is one of those like animes where it's like I wish it got a lot more of a bigger budget, that type of deal, because like there's really no manga that's quite like Kingdom, so to speak, and it's one of those weird mangas where it's like it's like it wins high rewards from like the Japanese manga scene, like that it's like one of the most popular mangas in all of Japan, like it's like really high up there. But it feels like for the anime, so that they don't get as much of a budget as you would expect for like a manga of that ranking to get, that type of deal, which mystifies me at times and all that. All that. But then again, it's like it's one of those. But then again, it's like maybe there's more to it than that. But yeah, with Kingdom though, it's like I'm just like right now, it's like I just really am eagerly waiting for like what was it? Like for them to get to the particular arc I'm wanting it to get to, that type of deal. But it's like it's still quite a ways away. They have a lot they have to do before it gets there. So like maybe by season 9 or something like that, maybe I might get it. That type of deal. It's right now in season 4 for those curious on that. It's like but
Or season.
yeah, but yeah, I've been reading a lot more manhwas like than I was like than anime nowadays. Like the one I'm reading right now, like there's a few that I'm reading. Some of the ones are the the big popular ones, but or maybe not. I don't even know what's the popular ones, I guess, nowadays. But it's
Just
like
throw the names out.
yeah. Let's throw some names out. So yeah, one of the ones I'm reading is T-Bait, the beginning after the end. On that. That one it revolves. The premise of that one is it's kind of an isekai, or maybe well maybe it is isekai, but it's like kind of isekai in the sense that like the guy in his former life was the king of all his, like of all like whatever the king of his nation or whatever, that type of deal. And then he ends up dying, and he very much is reborn in this other world that actually where magic exists, and he basically obviously ends up being some type of prodigy of sorts in the magic, using his knowledge from his adult years when he was king and the top fighter in his nation to apply to this real world with mostly success. But he runs into a problem where, like, because he's like an adult in a kid body basically, he consistently struggles with certain things. And so and it's like, and then thankfully this doesn't run to the common trope where he just like kind of just beats everything up. He does run to challenges and so on and so forth. So I was like, yeah, that's one I've been reading quite a bit of. Another one I've been reading a lot of is Survival Story of a Sword King in a Fantasy World. That this one is of course more isekais. Yeah, you can tell by the name and all that there.
Yeah.
This one I've actually been enjoying a lot, because this guy is like a guy that, you know, he came out of military service, and then he goes and he gets transported into another world where he has to basically survive and grow stronger in it. And the problem is, so like in all these isekais that do a game-based thing, you have like something like a status window. In this particular series, it's called a guideline. And in his case, his is bugged, so he can't go beyond level 5. That's a deal, you know that. And like basically he ends up stuck in a tutorial island where, like, in order to get through the tutorial island, he has to hit like level 10 or 20 or something like that. That type of deal. But because he's bugged, it's at level 5, he never leaves it, so he's stuck there for like 20 years or something like that. That type of deal. And the thing is, though, like, it's like a little rebirth system where, like, every time it resets his level back to 1, that type of deal, his stats actually carry over. So he's like a sneak level 5, that type of deal, with like crazy stats when he finally gets out of it through some like other stuff. And then like when he goes into it, he finds out that people like him, because he's not the only one, that type of deal. Like that so he's called what is called like a otherworlder or something like that. That type of deal. He finds out that they have a super bad rep in the isekai world, because for some inexplicable reason, that every time like another worlder shows up in their lands, that type of deal, they go on a murderous serial rampage. That type of deal, that type of deal. Like every single one of them without fail for the most part. That type of deal, that. And so like part of the big thing that goes on in there is figuring out the secret of why that happens, and then like you find out later and so on and so forth. But yeah, like it shows like very much like they're not the good guys. These isekai people are not good guys at all, and they're pretty much like, and a lot of them are prone to basically be huge villains. That type of deal, not if not all of them. So it's like, yeah, it leads to some really interesting stuff. And then let's see, I'm watching Reincarnation, reading Reincarnation, the Suicide Battle God. That one's the one I'm reading right now. That. So it's like this is not an isekai, but that type of deal, but it's similar premise where basically this guy, I think it was like the last survivor of humanity, he ends up losing his final fight, but because the gods thought that like they didn't take pity on him, they just thought his performance in the final fight was pitiful, that type of deal, and they didn't think that it was enjoyable, so they basically told him to do a better job next time and send him back in time, basically to basically gear up better and whatnot, so that he can actually put up a better fight for their final fight for their amusement. That type of deal.
Time travel. Okay.
Yeah, it's time travel basically. Yeah, the gods in this one are obviously, they're basically bored. Is what it is. They're basically bored, and they see the main character as a source of entertainment because he's a human fighting against like demons and devils and stuff like that. But because they're disappointed with his final fights, that type of deal, they're like, yeah, why don't we just send you back in time, and then we give you some shit to try to gear you up and get you on a better, so that next time when you fight against this dude, maybe you give us more of an entertaining show. That type of deal. So a lot of this particular manhwa is him basically, with his knowledge of the future, that type of deal, trying to gear up for what is to come down the line. But obviously, because he's changing things in the modern days, there's going to be some events that don't quite happen the way they do, and so on and so forth, and that leads to like all sorts of things, that. And then I'm trying to see one of the ones that my friend got me into reading. This one is like I think it's all right. It's like a SSS class Suicide Hunter, whatever. That type of deal. This one is like it's kind of like a, how do I put it? I guess it's technically time travel. Basically, this guy, it's the good old not isekai, manhwa story of, this guy's the weakest person in the world or something like that, that type of deal. And it's kind of like think solo leveling in that sense. Yeah, that's kind of like a solo leveling thing. He's the weakest hunter in the world or something like that, and then like he ends up like he doesn't have like any type of like skills or whatever, that type of deal. So he ends up basically he and a bunch of other people reside in this structure called the tower, which, as you can guess, is a multi-level thing, that type of deal. Once you enter it, you can't leave it, blah blah blah, and everything. And he basically in the tower, the most famous people are I think like the hunters, who are like obviously the people that take down the monsters and clear the floors and whatnot, and and all that. And like our main character doesn't have a skill, so he can't really do much hunting, that type of deal. So he's kind of and all that, and then like he ends up like due to how pathetic his skill is or whatever. And then he ends up making a wish. He gets a skill, and his skill basically allows him to, whoever kills him, that type of deal, he gets to copy one skill from that person, that type of deal, and retain it, that type of deal, that. So like being the usual trope, he ends up getting killed by the best hunter in the world, and he ends up picking up a skill from the best hunter in the world, which allows him to go back 24 hours, that type of deal. That to the pretty much to like from when he was killed. He since the main hunter is a big douchebag, he basically suicides like 4,000 plus times, so that he goes back several years, that type of deal, and all that to basically restart pretty much to get rid of that hunter down in the future, and then also in a way carve a path for him to basically become the top hunter in the world. So that's kind of like the premise of that story there. But yeah,
it feels like ReZero in a way with the whole resetting.
Yeah. He abused it a bit more because
Higurashi.
No, I mean I could, but that's a different trope.
Yeah. His thing is just like he goes back 24 hours from when he dies. So if he just suicides over and over and over again, it just pushes the start line further and further back, which is why he's able to do it. That. But yeah, those are like the ones I'm currently checking out right now. I haven't really checked. Like my friend recommended me to read this like detective one called like Purple Hyacinth or something like that. That's a deal. But I haven't, which is like a detective story about like I think this girl that was like I think like a investigator, but she has some type of power to read emotions or something like that. I don't know. I'm maybe butchering that, but yeah, that's like the other one. Like I've been like looking to get into. But yeah, unfortunately for me though, most of these manhwas at this point are taking a hiatus, so I have to start looking for new ones, currently. Yeah, I don't know. Isekai, you have any good juicy manhwas you want to share?
Unfortunately, the ones I'm reading now lately are shoujo.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be that's up your alley.
Oh darn.
Right? I mean, they're good. But they have so many reusable tropes that it might be kind of not fun.
It kind of
I could say that to any of them.
It kind of feels like a lot of these manhwas, even the big popular ones, always have this particular like generic trope that they always follow.
Like the popular shonen manhwas, it's always an isekai protag and the overpowered.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for the shoujo side, it's again an isekai protag, but there's some plot twist in it.
Like a difference of like alignment of like this person was actually evil all along or something. That's a deal.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, pretty much. It's like for the shoujo manhwas that I've noticed for the trope, it's the main protag is isekai from the normal world to this novel game or whatever it is.
Fucking novel every time.
It's either a novel or a game or some other form of medium.
So like villainous.
And then the main protag, the main heroine, didn't get isekai to the main the heroine in that medium. It's the villainous.
Yeah, villainous
it's
noble
like
girls.
Yeah. And they're always rich, or they're like a duke or like a princess or something like that. It's just like okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can name two because that's the only one I could that I remember, and the other ones I have to like grab my tablet to see what I'm reading.
Yeah, I can understand that.
yeah, one I'm reading is Villains Behind the Curtains. And the other one I'm reading was recommended by, again, one of my co-children. Failed to abandon the villain.
Oh,
So,
now that one I
yeah.
can see where that one's the story of that is. And,
Yeah.
I can fix him. I can fix him.
Both of them are very similar. It's because both of them, the main male and female protagonists are villains, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, wait, balloons?
No, are villains.
Oh,
Both of them
okay.
are villains. Yeah,
Okay.
balloons.
Yeah, I like. I felt like I misheard, so I wasn't sure on it. It was like.
Nah.
Oh my
that
god,
balloons
it's
in
supposed
terms
to be
of
a balloon.
actions.
I mean, I don't know.
Sounds like
The human mind can create some type of romantic plot involving two balloons. It's like,
I
I
mean,
mean-
there's an isekai manga with a guy being isekai and he became a vending machine.
ah.
I thought I was a...
You-
No,
You
no,
want
no.
to explain that?
There was a light novel of a guy who became a fucking hot spring.
Oh yeah, that was one thing too. Yeah.
Oh man.
Straighter's
Ryu.
Riots, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
Isn't there like an anime about like a can?
I think there's one. I think the vending machine one's probably the closest one you're gonna get to that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I need to find what that manga is, the vending machine one. What the name?
oh boy.
That time I became a vending machine.
You're very close.
It felt. I mean, a lot of these type of things do have that similar titles.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the official title is "Reborn as a Vending Machine."
There we go, exactly.
Now I now wander. I now wander the dungeon. That's a full title.
What?
What? Reborn as a vending machine. I now wander the dungeon.
How a vending machine wanders in a dungeon? That's what I want.
You waddle.
He waddles. He
Oh,
topples
fuck.
over.
Yeah.
I'll give you the short answer here, War. Waddle baby, waddle baby, waddle baby. What? Waddle baby, waddle
Next
baby,
time we
waddle
got
baby.
manga,
What?
so I think I might read it.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I'll probably should find the name of the hot spring one too. That's hilarious.
That one is just like they've clearly run out of ideas already.
I mean, it's still popular, so whatever.
That one, I heard the hot spring was pretty good, but I'm like, I don't remember.
Let's see, hot spring manga. I am checking what's the name. No, that's not it.
I mean, unfortunately, it's a bit too generic. You have to specify it a bit more. You know,
Okay. Oh, okay. I found it. The ratings are not that great on Mal, but it's Mal.
Who cares about Mao?
I would say
Okay.
there's like a lot of ratings are just kind of awkward because I've seen some
Yeah.
where it's like 4.9, and I'm like, I've read it. I read like the first couple chapters. And like, this is not 4.9.
Mhm.
And others, I feel like just biased because the amount of some of the yaoi stuff I've seen lists recommended to me are just like very high rated. I'm just like, I'm not sure.
Oh, it's the Fujoshis and the Fudanshis.
I'm, I'm not sure if it's really good or just like there's the clear audience who is really into this.
Why are you
there's a clear
reading?
audience.
Why are you reading?
There's always a clear audience, Strider.
Just look at Ryu.
Motherfucker, you want to say that to my face?
Nothing, Holmes.
That deserves a slow clap.
I will send you to Jesus. I will send you to El Jefe.
I'll have it.
Chapo?
Don't you mean send him to Jesus?
Jesus.
You know
Jesus
that's
is down the hall, War.
Funny enough, there is a poster of Jesus Christ next to me right now. I'm not fucking joking. My mom puts it there just to pray, then leaves to go to work.
I see.
Turn to Jesus, my man.
Nah, I'm not touching baby Jesus.
But yeah, speaking of manhwa, so I have heard that Soul Leveling is getting an anime, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, but
By
but
Crunchyroll.
It's gonna probably be pretty butchered.
It's gonna be butchered. I mean, it's well,
CR.
Wow.
It's CR.
Yeah.
Face it.
yeah.
Mm.
But also, I was about to get to the point of, but solo leveling's Arthur passed away.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Goodness.
passed away.
That's
He passed away
unfortunate.
really recently too. Yeah, so he won't be able to see his the anime adaptation, which is sad.
Yeah. At least he managed to conclude his story, which is at least something better than what some people could say on that. But
Yeah.
it is a pity that he won't get to see it on the big screens.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, Soul Loving was definitely one of the first manhwas I read too, as well.
Yeah.
How was it for you?
I felt you were gonna say something Isekai. Did I get you wrong?
I mean, like, I was about to say, like, no matter how bad or good the anime is going to be, it's just sad.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
won't see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like the manhwa quite a bit. I just think that something that I realized after reading the manhwa was I realized, like, you know, I think Soul Leveling is great, which is why it's getting an anime and stuff like that. I also realized that from my side that I really appreciate the other bad shonen manhwas that I read nowadays is that Soul Leveling has a point where, like, eventually the main character doesn't have a threat anymore, you know, that type of deal, you know, that. So because of that, like, a lot of the fights, while epic, it doesn't really feel like he will realistically lose, that type of deal, or he would just find a way to actually, you know, win it in the end. That type of deal, and on that, like, sure, you see like little things where he's like, oh yeah, I gotta watch out for this here and there, but it feels like he just gets to a power point where he's like, he doesn't really have to worry about losing at a certain point. The other manhwas I read, even with the characters being like absurdly powerful, there eventually comes like certain points in the arcs where they just don't win. That type of deal, they don't win, or they find big threats that make them like where they barely squeak out a win or come to a draw or even outright lose. And I just like, and it makes me really like, you know, it definitely makes me, I guess, a bit more invested in the manhwa. Not, I mean, I was invested in Soul Leveling throughout on that, but it's like, it's just, you know, the fact that, like, you know, giving your main characters a challenge even when you know they're really strong definitely, you know, makes it a lot more interesting to me, because I'm thinking like one of the ones like survival story with Sword King, like that, he pretty much just like bulldozes a lot of the early arc, that type of deal, like barely any problem, and even a good portion of the middle arc, and then he eventually gets to a point where he finally bumps into his first threat or somebody he couldn't beat, and he just outright just starts holding L's for the rest of the entire manga currently. Though making it close in some cases, but it actually kind of like, but I kind of like to see that, because then it's like, oh, it gives him, you know, you get the good old training arc, you get to see all these other newer stuff, that type of deal, and you know, now I can go into like the fights that this guy gets in without knowing if he's just gonna outright win or like lose or something like that. That's like something that, like, I felt like Soul Loving eventually kind of lost after around like the midway point, that type of deal.
I guess that's what happens when you have like a power fantasy
Yeah.
or self insert protag.
Yeah. You know that. Yeah, like I think like Overlord kind of has like a Overlord, you know, the anime, manga, whatever, kind of has a bit of that right now too, where it's basically like where like I love Overlord, but at the same time, you know, he doesn't really have any threats, and then most of the time when there is a threat, it's just kind of one he kind of made himself, that type of deal. On
Like,
that.
can I say that, like, I know a lot of people, like, I think season 4 with the lizards.
Oh wait, what's up?
Is that like in Overlord? There was season 4. I think it's season 4 where it's about like lizards.
It was season 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
season 2
Okay,
is the
sorry.
Lizard Men. Yeah.
Season 4 is the one that's coming. Sorry, it's
Season 4 is the one out right now.
Yeah.
yeah. I know a lot of people like season 2, and I've got to. This may be a hot take. I do not like it.
Like you know,
I've never seen season 2. I've only seen season 1. So.
Okay.
Go ahead. I don't care.
I've
Okay,
seen
yeah.
all
Give
of
us the
them.
sauce. Give us the sauce. What is the reason here? I already gave my Emiya speech.
Okay. Oh my god, it's been a while. I haven't watched 3 or 4 yet, so everything maybe. Actually, no. I think I watched 3. I haven't watched 4. So season 2 is more focusing on side characters, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's they didn't play any significance after they were introduced. After the entire season was just about them. So that's my whole issue. Like nothing, because you know our main character it's Irons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Grill season 1, we watched him deal with this whole thing, deal with it being isekai, then try to figure out what happened and stuff like that. But season 2 just gives me personally whiplash because season 2 is just all focusing on these side characters that I should care about, and it should be in relation to Ainz, but it doesn't do anything. It's just they're there. It's basically world building in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So you want it to be like later down the seasons than like
I want to be
season 2.
more like I want it to be more more connected to the main plot. Yeah, more connected to the main plot, but it just felt really jarring and out of place.
So like you think it's filler?
It feels like filler, but apparently it's not.
No,
No,
yeah.
it's actual material, but it's basically as close to fill as you could get without the main character being the focus.
Yeah, the big thing with like the lizard man is just basically like he adds them into his little like building empire thing. Or kingdom, technically.
He doesn't do it until like the very end, like
Yeah.
the last episode or something.
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
I remember I read the light novel before and it gave a bit more detail and some of the stuff going on, but for the most part it just felt like he kind of like, I guess he wanted lizard people to basically, part of it is to experiment on them, and then also because like they may make for good fighters and whatnot, that type of deal. But yeah, like watching the like season 2 though, it does feel like in a way like while it's world building, it kind of felt like maybe it could have, in terms of the main plot, it didn't add too much to it, like you were saying. It's like
if they're gonna show that Ainz is experimenting them, like actually show us that, because there's literally no hints of that whatsoever.
They're just skimming through skipping through segments of the light novel or something like that.
They have been doing that. There was a criticism of the animes, was like apparently a fair amount of the light novels have been skipped. That's how I mean, that's inevitable, because light novels are always going to contain a lot of material.
Of course. I mean, it's not as bad as what's it? Promise at Neverland. I am bringing that up. Because we're on the topic of mangas and light novels.
Son of a bitch.
It started off so good. How did you fall this far?
How?
I have heard these are legit rumors that I think the author of Promise Neverland didn't like that particular arc. That particular arc that was cut out in season 2. But everyone else, like the audience, really liked that arc, and it's really jarring that they when they took that arc out.
They took that arc out. They took out some characters out as well. Important key characters for the series, and then killed it off.
So
I never in my life did I feel a bigger effing betrayal of a source material to anime than Promise Neverland.
Oh, there's a lot out there.
Let's hear Rio's rant right now. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, go for
Let it out.
Okay, all right. So you have okay. So season 1 of Promise Neverland, I have nothing bad to say about it. From start to finish, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Season 2, how the fuck do you mess everything up through choppy time skips? It takes effort to be this bad. Actual effort to be this bad. I have no words to describe the pain that I feel. Words cannot begin to describe the pain that I feel in my chest at this.
It kind of felt like they killed off its own popularity since they pulled that shit.
Yep, they literally pulled into Star Wars Episode 1. And I am lowballing.
And the fact that it's 11 episodes as well, that's also a big factor.
I mean, to be fair, weird episode counts, don't always mean, an anime is, bad or, has the potential to be bad. I mean, look at fucking Baccano. Baccano is considered, one of the best animes of, the early 2000s, and that's, 16, 18 episodes?
I think 17.
Yeah, right around that frame. That's not the problem that I have. The problem I have, how do you screw up consistency issues this bad? Like, pain.
So, I have no
Mhm.
idea what goes through the minds of the people who were doing that. So you gotta ask them, man.
There's probably a lot of reasons, but yeah, I just mentioned one of them.
Mhm.
It's just a rumor though. So
Yeah.
No, I think it's true. I believe.
it's everything's a rumor until we have an official statement.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty
It's
much what
just
it
an
comes down
author
to.
submitted that yes, everything did happen.
Oh my god.
That'd be cool though.
Oh, it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, like going back to Overlord, yeah, like it's like my biggest thing right now. Overlord is there's just no big threat right now. They had introduced some characters that like could be threats down the road. You have like in season 2 you had that one woman in the Black Scriptures, that type of deal. That was like that like it was like Setsume, I think is her name or something like that. That type of deal. And apparently the author says she's as like strong as one of the Plades or whatever there. So she's pretty good. She's pretty powerful. Not like, you know, she can beat Ain's powerful, but you know, enough to give some of his like his like more well-known henchmen a run for their money type powerful. And then apparently like they have this other character that's like Albedo's little sister who's super powerful. That type of deal. But it's like, you know, at this point though, you know, they're not really threats. They're just kind of like potential threats, but they're not. But these stories haven't really been doing anything to, you know, potentially position them to a point where it's like, you know, maybe he may have some big competition. So like my big thing right now of Overlord, from the snippets I hear in like the volumes that are out right now and like the anime, I haven't watched season 4 either yet, but it's like, but I know roughly what the plot of it is. That's a deal. It's like it just feels like right now a lot of Overlord's just kind of like Ain's in the gang just screwing around, doing their own shenanigans and all that type of a deal, and just creating things for, you know, just to have. I'm not sure if having fun's the right word, but you know, it's like there's really no true threat to them right now, which is like the fact, which I feel like, you know, being this far into light novels and stuff like that, I feel like they really need like some sort of a big threat at this point that, you know, kind of could interfere with all their plans and so on and so forth to really spice it up. But I'm not a light novel right that type of deal.
Could be.
Well, the thing about that is I do watch Overlord. It's just like the idea behind original creation of Overlord was he is supposed to be the strongest thing in that world.
Yeah.
So it is just one of the things where there's no weight to it, because it's like, if you know he's the strongest, you kind of don't really care too much about what he does because no one's really in a position to oppose him.
Yeah, and I think that's fine, but it's like they also just, but the problem is they keep teasing all these potential side plots that can happen to, because he knows that other players have been to the world before. That's a deal, and I think it became like a lot of the legendary things that the world made legends out of. He also has like a task force that's out to look for, you know, potential other players. That's a deal, and down the road too as well, like most notably his guildmates and that. And then also like he has like, you know, and then he's also constantly on the lookout for other players too. And so I kind of feel like, you know, and then you had like some incidents like the Shaltier incident where she got incomplete mind controlled, that type of deal. So like, you know, they're like I don't remember, I think they were like world class artifacts and stuff like that could definitely really change up the thing, into the whole dynamic, but they don't really see any use right now. You know, that, so it's like I feel like they have all these potential side plots that could definitely introduce, you know, a big, you know, threat, but right now the author doesn't seem to want to introduce that just yet.
Well, we shall see in time.
By the time we see a threat to Ainz, it's gonna be like 40 years later.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
50 volumes later.
I've been stuck in here for 40 years. Still a skeleton. Ah!
I think he'd be immortal by then.
I think
Nah,
he's
Reed's
functionally immortal though. He's like
Essentially,
yeah,
he
he's a
doesn't
leech.
age as far as we know.
He's an utter leash, so like he's like functionally immortal for the most part. It's like,
I mean, he's a skeleton.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure he has some, you know, bone preserving magic or something like that if they really want to go into corrosion.
Decay.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Arthur's gonna be
It
like,
doesn't
he drinks
show
milk
yellow.
every day.
God.
but yeah, that's like, yeah. I mean, I still didn't get around to watching the season 4 anyway. Regardless of my, you know, like wanting them to have a big threat by now, I'm still gonna watch it anyway. It's kind of is in a way like Overlord and Sword Art are kind of like in a way like the trailblazers for the all like isekai super powerful person that overwhelms everything around them type trend. Not
Oh, SAO is definitely the beginning of it.
yeah. Yeah, like so.
It's good junk food though.
Isekai.
Sorry, Yusei. I know you love SAO, but we gotta call it like it is.
Well, the thing with
I-
SAO is like they're constantly introducing someone who's supposed to be a threat.
But it doesn't
And
happen.
then, yeah, it never happens whereas Overlord is like,
I mean,
we haven't
the only
been
thing in
introduced as
action
threat.
really happened was Alicization, which is the last last season.
Mm.
Yeah, that was the only time when we actually had a threat, or seemingly have one.
Now that you mentioned Alicization, I cannot get that doodle ad out of my head.
Oh yeah. Okay. So for context, the war showed me that that cup noodle commercial with SAO characters with Kirito and Alice, and yeah, it was so trippy.
That was fun. Yeah, that was funny as hell.
Truthfully, I found that from like Sandy.
Oh my god. And you should show.
I'll get it.
Yeah, show the boys this. I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
I already know.
Yeah. 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 For everyone that's listening or watching, hopefully we have a link or like a screenshot
we'll
or whatever,
provide
so you guys
that.
can watch it. Yeah.
Then you edit the video in.
Pinned YouTube comments.
Yeah. We can pin it as a YouTube comment too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pin it. We already pin it, put it in the description. On that one or the other. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel free to watch it and have fun with it.
Why is this
Feel free to
fully
watch it.
animated? That is my biggest problem. Why did they go to the effort of animating this?
It's a commercial.
sponsorship.
I'm pretty sure you could absolutely get away with like stock footage and shit.
Have
No.
you not seen the noodle commercials in Japan? They're so gorgeously animated, and you're like, why?
There's a few
Why?
Gintama ads they did with collaborations.
Oh my god. I can show you guys these. Oh my god.
Yeah, but blame me if you find this ad like very funny or weird.
Oh, there's a One Piece one.
What? Oh, those you mean like that looks like very beautiful and stuff? Yeah, I seen those.
Yeah, One Piece one. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw the Sora one, I saw the Nami one, and I saw
there's all of them right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I saw those like going around on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, there's also this one I have seen. It's so pretty, unnecessarily pretty, and you just realize it's a fucking noodle commercial.
Where the fuck the cup noodle gets their money?
From the world? Have you not known? Cup
No,
noodles?
the budget. I'm saying for those beautiful animations.
The budget pays for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nissan has the budget for it because we buy those shit.
Yeah.
Can you buy me some cup noodles, please?
Just walk to your nearest store.
I don't know. My nearest store has Maruchan, not cup noodles.
Not even Nissan noodles?
No, just Maruchan.
Oh. Okay.
Sounds like you need some better cup noodles.
Hey! I love those noodles. The shrimp ones are better.
I'm just saying.
Boy.
I do like the shrimp ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the SAO, like, yeah, I definitely don't disagree that SAO definitely blew open the doors for the whole isekai power fantasy thing there. I don't disagree whatsoever. I was on that train too. No, that it's like, I don't
I
know.
think really good songs though.
Yeah.
I was also on that train, but then like almost all of them sucked.
Yeah, like I feel like SAO definitely opened up the floodgates for it, and then Overlord pushed it further. I think when it came out,
for the overly strong pro tag and the isekai genre.
yeah,
And
like
I'm
those two I think are kind
2012.
of those two are probably like if someone had to say like what really like made the isekai genre like super mainstream the way it is, those two are the ones I'll point to.
100%.
Yeah.
You gotta give credit when credit is due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least Slime did something better.
Slime is okay.
Sounds okay. I think I prefer
it's okay.
Overlord.
I don't know. I don't know
Like,
what
the
you
big issue with Overlord is that it's just a shit ton of world building. Like, we have 4 seasons worth of world building right now.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, why do you think I pick reincarnation, the slime anime over it?
That's fair. That's fair. There is a lot of stuff you had to like rummage through before you find the good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I know with Sal, like I only watched season 1, you know, and it's like that's the idea. So like it was the one where, you know, where they're in, you know, actual Sal, and then the Yggdrasil one, I think, or whatever. The one
It was the elf one.
yeah, that's it, Alfheim. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. It was like,
Mm.
yeah, those two. Like I remember even watching him, I was like huge into Sal. I was like, man, it's kind of disappointing they didn't just stay in Sal. Because I felt like after they left Sal, you know, like a lot of the big threat about you die IRL if you die here was just gone. That type of deal. You know, that type of deal. So like at that point, you know, there's like they could just log out whenever they wanted in Alfheim and so on and so forth. So it's like, the big threat and the tension that was in the first half of it was like just not there anymore. I watched a teeny bit of Gun Gale because I heard a lot of people like that one, but I never got back into it. It's like after that.
Gun Gale was better than the other previous seasons, but it still has its shortcoming. And it's a very jarring shortcoming.
The ending shortcoming from Gun Gale was iffy at best.
Apparently people really like the spin-off of GGO more than the...
I think they do, but it looks pretty funny to me.
If you watched it, I still think... I personally didn't really enjoy it as much as people claim it to be.
I never got to watch it because I was stuck with the main series. I never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Like, I mean, to put it lightly, it's enough stuff.
So wait, so Alanization, I remember that one that however people really loved though. It's like even like some of the people that, you know, disliked sword art for years, you know, they apparently seem to actually like Alanization now. It's like from what I've heard.
It's the strongest season out of the 4, in my opinion.
Yeah, if I were to rank, if I would rank it, it would go Gun Gale, SAO, no, we said Alicization was the strongest. What am I saying?
It's like contradicting.
like honestly, if I had to rank it, it would have to be
It is the strongest. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, Gun Gale I would say is like the second strongest, were it not for the fact that Alicization exists. Like as iconic as like the original SAO storyline is, like there's a lot of weight to Gun Gale.
Yep.
There's also progressive, but that's a retelling, a more polished retelling.
I remember hearing that. I just didn't know what that was. It's like...
Progressive is more focused on us now, I believe.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I said yeah, it does follow the Asuna.
But yeah, I remember like I'm also on the topic of like manhwas and stuff like that. I remember like my friend who's just like, you know, why does it feel like we find like much more quality? Like he was like, yeah, I feel like manhwas just in general nowadays are just much better than mangas. That's a video.
That's a hot take.
And I was saying like I told him like I'm not sure. It's like it may seem that way because I feel like a lot of times when we find the manhwas, they're already been like, you know, relatively good. Like people normally if you hear about a manhwa or discover one, people have already kind of in a way confirmed that it's like, yeah, it's solid, you know, read this one. That's how it is. So like the ones, I guess like what I'm trying to say is like the ones that you like, I don't know, I don't have any evidence to back this up, it's just my personal experience. So antidote. But it's like but basically I was trying to like, yeah, most of the time I feel like with manhwas, when you kind of just, you know, you're just browsing for them, that type of deal, you're probably like most of the time the ones that you find, they're probably more or less like good in a way. Like the ones that you just probably casually just stumble upon, they're probably good because they feel like they're better than like a, you know, just looking for a manga because the ones that are shown to you are probably ones that are already like doing well enough. And then I felt like with mangas, because it's kind of like easier to find like a lot more mangas, that type of deal, like that you tend to like you see a lot more like mediocre ones and that type of deal as a whole than like you would find a quality one within that amount. I guess what I'm trying to say is like what I was trying to tell him was like, you like more than likely when you're trying to search between the two, you're probably likely to find more mangas in general than manhwas, but because you find a lot more mangas or maybe access to them, you're finding a lot more mangas is easier. Like that, you're more likely to see a lot more meh or like bad mangas versus manhwas where maybe you don't have as much of an access to like the big pool of them. So the ones that you do see are generally of a probably a bit more of a higher quality type of deal. Was what I was trying to tell them there. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that was like I don't have any thing to back this up, but that was kind of like how I thought it was probably the case there. Because yeah, he was like, yeah, he couldn't really get into reading as much mangas anymore. And for me, it's kind of the same thing too. Most of the mangas I read are just ones I've been following for years at this point too.
The one I followed for years is Eden Zero, but that was it.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I think your friend's just looking at the wrong places because I feel like I read through a bunch of shit on both sides.
There are definitely some bad mangas, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like
man, the amount of times I just get the love story ones are just like, fuck, why are you guys just like all the same storylines that goes like the exact same route and does nothing?
oh, well, that's why you're so familiar with Isekai shoujo manhwas. They tropes there.
It's funny because it's like I think listed hers, and I feel like I read both of this and dropped in like the first couple chapters.
I mean, they're shoujo for a reason.
Isekai's like, you're not the targeted audience.
No, it wasn't because of the genre. I think it was because they read similar to like 500 other things.
Oh yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you on that.
When I read it, I'm like, it sounds so similar. I could guess.
Yeah,
when the first 50 chapters goes, and I'm like, not gonna care.
Yeah, even I'm like that way with all the manhwas I'm reading. I'm like, this is a repeat, but I'll still read it anyway. Okay.
I do feel
Why
like
you torture
yeah.
yourself?
I do feel like yeah, with a lot of these. Oh, sorry, you go ahead, Strider first.
No, I read a lot of the CEO shit, and just like the fact that I could guess your same 6 openings now of how you can introduce the characters is fucking stupid.
Damn, dude.
What were we gonna say,
It's a
Isekai?
trope.
Yeah.
It's a trope. It just happens.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was like, yeah, I do feel like in a way the hardest part about reading a manhwa is getting through the beginning few chapters because a lot of them start very similar. That type of deal. Whether it's the shonen one where it's just like isekai time travel, and then like maybe the guy was like super weak but now he's super strong, that type of deal, or like it's like the shoujo startings. Yeah, it always feels like a lot of these. The most difficult part is just getting through that beginning part, just the more generic aspects, and then seeing how the rest of it goes.
Have you guys done the thing where you read 200 chapters only to stop at like chapter 200?
Bruh.
Because that happens to me every time I read them. They're like 300 and 400 chapters. I get to 200. I'm like, yeah, no, we're still basically in that beginning stages of everything. I'm like, how are you even still there? We're 200 chapters later.
Yeah, for what it's worth, a lot of these manhwas do feel like, at least I do feel like they continuously get updates over time compared to some mangas where it's like, oh, that was only 20 chapters, that type of video, and it just ends. And so I'm not saying that there aren't manhwas that don't do that. I've definitely seen a few of them myself, but it does feel like a lot of the ones that like do most of the time when you read a manhwa, you kind of expect them to have a decent length. That type of deal that keeps it going. And also the problem I have too is like I tend to try to binge them in 1 or 2 days too because I get caught up in it on that more than I probably would with like most mangas nowadays too.
No, every time I read a manga, I was like, yes, a manga, finally. And it's just like, 7 chapters. All right. I read through 7 chapters like probably twice because they were enjoyable. And I read 200 chapters of a manhwa. I'm just like, this is terrible. How they have me read 200 chapters?
That sounds like a you thing.
No, I have a lot of problems, especially when I'm reading the manhwas. It's just like, I don't know why. After reading past like whatever 50 to 100 chapters, it's just like, eventually they're going to hit that point where they just kind of trail off for the story a bit, just to do like, the cultivation ones are like terrible at this because they hit the like that one arc where they're going to power up the main character, and then it's just like 20 chapters worth of just like, I feel like I'm reading nothing. And it's when they hit those points, I'm just like, I stopped reading because it's like you were interesting for like 50 chapters. You staggered during the latter 50, and now you're just kind of completely trailed off the story.
That is legitimate, great.
Yep.
You gave an earlier point though. I did notice that a lot of these like the manhwas that when it involves romance, it really is a lot of the CEO romance. They think
It is. The CEO. It's funny because when Isekai brought up the whole Isekai thing, or the Isekai, like they're the villainous or they're just not the main character. I'm like, you know what's funny is the fact that I read like 50 CEO stuff before that happened. And that was like a fresh air.
It was a pressure vessel, now it's not.
Yeah, and then now there's like that's my main romance thing that I read is like the fucking Isekai ones because I'm like, all of the CEO ones are just like the first 100 chapters are basically the same.
I wonder if it's because of Bacarina.
Oh, what's
I feel like
that?
it is.
Possibly.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Bacarina's a nickname for one of the characters it's a really, I guess it's a popular shoujo manga anime. I need to check. What's the full name? Sorry.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Ah, I die so hard every time I read was the romance one. Bleh.
Oh, I found it. My next life as a villainess. Oh,
Oh, yeah, that one.
Need to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's popular enough to get its own otome game.
Oh, there we go.
So
An actual otome game. Oh boy.
yeah, now it's an otome game. I'm waiting for it.
You're gonna stream
Isekai.
that shit.
It's probably not going to get translated, I'll be honest, but I might have hope because Idea Factory.
That's fair. Yeah.
Can't wait for that stream.
This is a woman that knows what she wants. Not that there.
I want my otome games, damn it!
And still wait for that Dialover stream.
Oh, it's not going to get translated.
You
I
never
mean,
know.
there is a patch for it for the
first one,
PS
right?
Vita version. Yeah, first one, yeah, not the other one. So there's that. But yeah, that game is very how should I say it? It'll be people gonna have it is niche. Also, it's people are gonna have a field day with that with all of the trigger happy people in the world.
Forget them.
Okay.
Just pretend they don't exist.
Oh.
Let him die, I say.
What he says. Ryu will take care of it with his machine gun.
Pew pew.
I'll just oversimplify it. The problems with it is all of the guys are assholes and douches, and the girl develops Stockholm syndrome.
Wonderful.
Seems like some of the other villainous stories I have read where the wife had weight to it.
It's not an isekai and it's not a villain story, but it's something.
Basically, toxic relationship, the game.
It's actually, yeah.
Sounds like the tertiary stuff that I read now.
I mean, there are some decent characters who are less assholey, but yeah, most of the guys have some kind of issue, and yeah, that's putting it lightly.
If it's never translated, then watch the anime, people. I'm just kidding, don't.
Oh, the anime is so bad. The song's okay. The animation's okay. It's just
How bad we talking?
You're the expert, you should know.
Give me a minute. Hold on.
He's processing where
Are we okay? Okay. Let me put it this way: Are we talking Ghost Stories English dub bad, or are we talking School Days bad?
School Days bad.
Oh, fuck me!
You asked.
Yeah.
And I regret it.
I mean, it's not as explicit as School Days, I think, but they do have a lot of a lot of people have issues with it, I guess, or even more so nowadays. Yeah.
I mean, when was this made? Like early 2000s?
When was it? It should be like 2010s-ish?
If it's early 2010s, then yeah, that should be by its era.
Yeah, okay. The anime, right?
Anime or like the Otome, either one works.
The Otome game came out in 2012.
Oh,
Yeah, it's an old game. Yeah,
10 years
I'm
old.
not saying it isn't. Yeah. The anime came out in 2013.
So a year later. Damn.
Yeah. What the fuck?
That's so weird and jarring, but well, damn.
Yeah, it's so real jarring. I'm like, I know the game's old. I didn't know the anime was old.
Yeah, everything sucks.
Starting of the day, everything sucks.
Yeah,
Everything does suck.
yeah, to this day, I'm still like, in terms of just like anime sucking, I'm so sad about the new Shaman King to this day. You know, it's like,
Oh,
yeah.
Or
To this day, you know, that it still kind of pains me of how like it's not bad, but it's definitely nowhere near like what I felt like the series has been. It's like someone probably brought up the idea that like probably the fact that like the author is insistent that all the, you know, original actors, voice actresses and stuff like that come back, and also getting Yuki like to do the soundtrack, you know, the composer did like the My Hero soundtrack and all these other amazing soundtracks, that type of deal, probably took up a lot of the budget to where they couldn't really do animations. That type of deal, you know, that, which is like my biggest like especially since some of the VAs also hit it big, like Nana Mizuki for example hit it really big during the years since her Shaman King role and all that. So it's like they probably had a lot more of a budget, a salary for their roles than they did before. But yeah, to this day though, it's like that series caused me such disappointment in terms of like what it could have been and all that there, because I wanted a remake for so long, and then just seeing like how it turned out, which, you know, while technically for the most part true to the source material, just maybe with very slight tweaks, and then, you know, that type of deal, it also like took away a lot of what made the original manga. And even the 2002 version pretty charming, because it removed a lot of the dialogue and characterizations of the characters, and also the fight scenes being slideshows didn't help either. That type of deal. Like, I remember being shocked actually seeing a bit of animation during one of the later episodes of the anime, where like Ren actually dodges like a sword swipe, and you actually see him kind of move to dodge it. That type of deal. You know that? It was like that, instead of it being like very slideshow oriented. It got a lot better with like the last like 3 episodes or so. They actually started showing a lot more animation for the fight scenes, so they actually, you know, moved around and you saw some actual good hits and stuff like that. But it was like, yeah, by that point it was just like way too little, too late at that point. But,
Or Fuji.
yeah. Disappointing overall. But I mean I guess at least, you know, it got some type of remake, so I'm kind of grateful for that. It did bring back some interest into the series, but it was like, but it definitely wasn't what I would have wanted for it. But like I said, that's just me being a homer because it is my most favorite series of all time, so yeah.
No, it's fine.
yeah, it's understandable, man.
Yeah, but hey, at least it brought back some merchandise lines and stuff like that, so maybe down the road I'll actually get some figures or something in the future.
There's a lot of Nendroids.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's probably one of the good things I see out of this. Like, you know, now I get to have some good Shaman King merch, where back then the best Shaman King merch you could really get is this really like, it's this toy action figure like thing that isn't really that high quality. You know
Are
that?
you gonna buy the Ninjas or no?
Maybe down the road when I move somewhere or something like that. Yeah, it's like, but yeah.
Which Nendroid you're planning to buy?
I haven't actually seen all of them, so I like, yeah, it's I only yeah.
I could check.
Yeah, like I looked at, I think like when they announced them, I saw like an ad for it, but I was like, but I never really looked too deep into it. You know, that because at the time I was just like,
with a good smile, Twitter.
yeah, like because like, yeah, I know, but yeah, it's like, yeah, probably like well, I would like to get a Yo one because he's like my most favorite character, of course, and all that. And then like, yeah, probably getting something like Len wouldn't be bad either, or even How, like, you know, those are the big 3. You know, that's a deal. Then after that, I'll probably be a bit more fair game on like who I would want to get. No, that's like
He gets a John Cena figure.
the John Cena. Oh, yeah, I didn't know like John, like you don't know, like obviously like it was like a lot of uses is debuted. Like I remember I found out recently that what was it? It's like Raw just had an episode where like John Cena had his like, you know, they celebrated 20 years of John Cena basically. You know that. That type of deal. I was like, oh damn, he really has been around for that long. And that type of deal, it's hard to believe that he's like 40 plus years old now. That type of deal. You know that. Like, yeah, because like I always still, remember him being like still, a pretty athletic, strapping 20, early 30-year-old guy at the video.
Mm.
Kind of like when I found out the Rock the other day was like actually like 51 or something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
But damn.
Hey,
yeah.
He looks young.
how do you think I feel today? During conversation, I found out that Arnold Schwarzenegger is 75.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's like all
I
these
seen them.
yeah, all these people that I thought was like maybe at least 10 years younger is a lot older than I thought they would be. That it's like, yeah. So like, yeah, that was like the surprising thing. That there. Like I remember also like find out that Stone Cold Steve Austin's nearly 60, so that also caught me off guard too.
John Cena's 45. What the hell?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, listen, it's one of those things. It's like, oh damn, it really has been quite a while there. Yeah, kind of wild.
You don't say.
Alright, guys, I guess we'll go ahead and call it a night here. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in and stay tuned for our next episode. Thanks.
Night, guys.
Yep, night.
Bye.